So hello everybody, and welcome back to some more WARNO action with me, Bro Soccer, and with the lovely Chloride.
Hello, everybody. So, getting into this Division 2 game here, we're seeing some interesting deployments by the Polish player here on our left. With the 5E, of course, having the French armored division with the older generation armor and kind of often very cheap, soft attack heavy division and tanks. We're seeing a kind of an aggressive mechanized early aggro with the numerous AMX-10Ps with the cheap Escorte PC infantry units, the security units, as well as these older generation AMX-30s. And at the same time, early investment into Hot 2 and Cannon helicopters. Cannon's actually vetted up to veteran to provide them 80% accuracy at good cohesion. So I think this is an interesting aggro we're seeing here in Division 2 with kind of the bad armor making contact with the enemy out there in the middle on Echo, and then the helicopters and likely also investment into air doing the damage. So what do you see from Cheech here on our right?
Yeah, Cheech coming in here with his classic division. It's Cheech being back to first 2K. This matchup also pretty important. Both players already qualified for the knockoff stage, but it's important to see who gets first place in the group. So this best of 2 years still important. They both have 1 win and 1 draw, and Doozy is the guy in third place in the group, and he has all draws, so he has 3 points. They already have 3 points before that, and they have a win, which as the tiebreaker would get them ahead already. But they both obviously want to get a win in this matchup so that they can move on in the first place, ahead of Doozy here. So and ahead of each other, because obviously the easier the matchups you get into the first round in the knockoff stage. And yeah, first 2K here coming in with a lot of helicopters as well. We see a good amount of Gazelle rockets and Hell Arms. That's an interesting setup. We see a bit of airborne as well here, though not as much as we have seen some times lately. Like Cheech really plays it low. No Terriers whatsoever, just SAS patrol here and a Para Milan, but no Terrier infantry at all. We have a Scimitar, which we don't see super often lately anymore. But yeah, it has a Rarden, it has 3 frontal armor, so it's decent firepower there for 55 points. It's just a bit slow. And then we actually have some tanks already. So the question is, can the chieftains, get close to the enemy tanks as well?
Yeah. So the defensive forward deployment opener here, I just want to highlight 2 of my favorite units. The best unit in the game, the Para Milan 2, the forward deployment ATGM, and probably the best NATO ground surveillance radar unit, the SAS Patrol, with the best MP5s, the long-range sniper rifle, as well as the close-range satchel charge. So having these kind of forward units holding out singular enemy infantry and leaving the armored engagement to the heavier ordnance, likely the Hell Arm here most likely being first to start targeting all of these AMX-10Ps as well as these AMX-30Bs. But the Zeke opening with 2 Mirage F1s, older French fighters with excellent speed at 1,400 kilometers, and 4 pretty alright missiles.
Yeah, Tornado came in on the other side, realized it's alone, so it gets the hell out of there. Means though that the Gazelles have to dive here to the floor. They can't make it to the front line, otherwise the Mirages will just annihilate them, leaving Jig here with the helicopter advantage in the opener.
Yeah, the AMX-10 RCs, the probably the heaviest offensive recon unit with the main battle tank gun and the maximum road speed of 108 kph, opening up, taking positions, and spotting the Para Milan 2 that still hasn't, and now hidden from the enemy inside the buildings. These AMX-10s haven't actually gotten any big kills here outside of this Milan 2 getting strafed down by the fighters. And this is likely because Cheech is purposefully wanting to play a bit more passive to negate the French advantage in the opener with those very, very good recon vehicles.
Yeah, we also saw Cheech double investing into Tornadoes to try to kill the double Mirage on the other side, but Jig being prepared there, having a third Mirage coming around, wins the air opener here. in the end, only one tornado going down, but Jig coming out with 3 Mirages alive, so getting ahead in that one. Gazelle Cannons in the meantime, though, getting shut down by the Javelin in the center. Gazelle's here still alive. It's a really interesting matchup here between these two so far. Gazelle Cannon actually might kill the Hellarm, who gets stunned down there. The Hellarm needs to get the hell out of there, as the SAS Patrol coming in with a lifesaver shot there. We see some warriors getting involved now as well. Javelin really struggling to get the kill, and there comes the TRM 2000 from the side, killing off the Hellarm in the end anyways. And we now have the big tanks rolling towards each other after all that skirmishing at the beginning.
Yeah, the Scimitar on the right only has good optics, so its spotting capacity is kind of minimal. But at any point, if the tactical situation emerges, it could move in down west, southwest to take other forest lines and actually provide a spotting capacity for Cheech behind the Foxtrot, which on the long term could actually prove very important. Though meanwhile, Cheech's attention is most likely getting into these escort PCs and mechanized push that's going into Echo. Want to point out this might be the cheapest IFV and infantry combo in the game. 5-point escort PC and what is this? 40-point AMX-10P. Both of them kind of low-grade units, but you get a lot of them, and those are 8-man infantry squads.
Well, actually, you have a nearly as cheap combo on the other side. The Escort PC AMX-10P combo, yeah, is a decent one, but the Gun Troop Warrior Milan is only 5 points more expensive, so good combo there as well. And the Warrior Milan, for sure the better IFV, but the Gun Group for sure the weaker infantry on the ground. Escorts don't have the MGs, but they have 4 times the manpower, and they have the special trait. They will go up 5 points, but at the same time the MX 10P will go down 5 points, so the combo will stay the same in the next patch as the MX 10P. Yeah, it's the weakest of all the IFVs in the game currently. Maybe on par with the BMP one without ATGM. Like, that's the level where the MX-10P is at, and it's really not deserving the same price as some Mahlers and so on. It's a really weak IFV.
Yeah, and if I may say, AMX-10P also the least intimidating looking IFV in the game. I just think it doesn't have the sauce. The cannon is pretty cool, but the size, it looks like a children's toy, really.
Yeah. And yeah, it gets pushed back here. AMX-30B sitting right next to it, as the Chieftain is the biggest boy on the battlefield so far. And it really can hurt those AMX-30Bs quite nicely, whilst the AMX-30Bs with their heat rounds and only 15 penetration can't do super much about the Chieftain Mark 11 here. So it is in a commanding position. It has to be careful about the ATGM. It has to be careful about the French planes. So it can't go super aggressive out there, but as long as it stays out of ATGM fire, it will be dealing a lot of damage here in this fight.
Yeah, Zeke is reinforcing with 3 Milan 1s following the 3 escort PCs. Once again, cheap 45-point, but pretty alright range and good accuracy and mediocre damage ATGMs. Currently, there is nothing on the board from the British that couldn't be penetrated by the Milan 1s. Aside from, I mean, the Chieftain has 15 armor against 17 damage, but in general, these Milan 1s seem to be a way better choice masked up than investing into like a fewer amount of higher grade ATGMs, even though the French do get them in numbers, actually, considering the Mephisto.
Yeah, we see an interesting unit that I'm still not quite sure about how strong it is now that we have the accuracy changes to artillery and so on, and the general artillery buff, as we see the first Abbot coming in here. It's a cute little artillery piece. It's the cheapest self-propelled howitzer on NATO's side, but it's also a pretty small gun, and the rate of fire is not amazing, but we will see what it can do here. If Cheech brings it around, I would expect it to be decent, as Cheech plays first 2K a lot, but I'm interested to see what it can do here, if it maybe can counter these Milan 1s here, which otherwise could create a pretty big problem here, as they will one-shot those warriors. Oh no, actually the warrior has Frontal armor? Why didn't they get one-shotted there? Okay, I guess that was misses that dealt damage there. AP, AoE bug hitting there and damaging the warriors, but leaving them alive for now.
Yeah, the Abbot does compensate for its kind of weak gun for having a salvo length of 6. So by having 2 Abbots, and if you have them close enough, those things are only 110 points. And if you're shooting at like 5 or 6 kilometer range, 12 shots, yeah, the weak gun that can compensate for the damage. And these positions here are pretty close range. I mean, they are at 80 GM distance of each other, so the Abbots can get close.
Yeah, Warrior Pleek coming in as well. They have a Milan too. And they are really scary of that for all the AMX X's, as they will one-shot them. And the MX-30s all can be one-shot killed by the Milan 2, which makes it a really strong unit to play against the French, as it's the cheapest ATGM that can one-shot them. And yeah, especially on a Warrior Pleek for only 55 points at the moment. That is a kind of a steal, actually, if you can one-shot 135-point tanks with that. And so Cheek might have to play a bit around the tank problem. And I like how Jake plays this game so far here, with MX out of 1 now as an artillery piece being brought in, playing a lot focused on getting the air dominance, because if you have the air dominance, you have strong attack bombers on both sides, so whoever has that has a really big advantage in this fight, as AA on both sides is also only mediocre, especially on the first UK side. So getting the win there is good, and the Milan ones here, getting rid of the warrior Milan there. Nice kill as well, take us up. So how do you think Chi should go about breaking this position here right now?
Yeah, so the British tanks, of course, are famously not capable of easily dodging bombers, especially not good dive bombers. British tanks are very slow, so they are better targets for AT weapons and aircraft. Personally, I think a smoke to cut out from the Cheech's positions at the tower to the middle of Echo, cut it out and get into a closer engagement range, get infantry there, force the French to bring out their mechanized units, and then fight those mechanized units one by one. You have expendable infantry there. You have gun groups, and you have numerous amounts of warrior Milans. So something's gonna hit if the engagement happens. And the best way to force the engagement, in my opinion, is to cut the zone in half and force the French to counterattack.
Yeah, the Abbots trying to find kills. Jig so far though with good movement here around with the Milan ones on the French side. Milan 2s in the south as well. Those, if they can find a side shot against the Chieftain, will one-shot it as well. Meanwhile, AMX-10 RCs in good spots in the south as well. No infantry for either side there, and I like the AMX-10 HOTS. Those are a really good investment in my eyes here, as they come in with the Hot 2 long-range, hard-hitting ATGM, outranging the Milan 2s as well. So especially against the Warriors, they can win the long-range ATGM fights. So yeah, good investment here on this big airfield where you have a lot of long line of sights.
Yeah, that we have seen before, the French and 5e specifically being countered by smokes. It's very easy to do these amazingly strong and efficient lines of high-tech ATGMs with the French, but those units lack the capacity to attack aggressively, for instance, and the British are pretty all right at defense, and even the cheaper tanks like the Chieftains can survive hits pretty well against the French tanks. And currently, it just seems like the kind of concave nature of the French troops here with the AMX-10s down south is helping them win this engagement. And now we're seeing Cheech pull the mechanized blob way out of the map, waiting for another attack, and the ATGMs are just increasing in number. Even more AMX-10 HOTS coming up. There are 2 AUF ones right now. Slugging this out, the French do have a pretty good position here.
Yeah, Grouper Anti-Char being hit by the Warriors, but at the same time, Paramilan 2 is going down. The town being under permanent fire from the AMX ones. They are for sure the better artillery here. The Abbots trying their best here to do a good job as well, but they are HE power here against Milan 1, as you can see, relatively lackluster. Even with direct hits, they don't snipe them immediately. So that's the problem of the Abbot. It's also way cheaper than the AMX Alv 1. You get 2 for the price of 1 on the other side, but yeah, currently the Alv 1 getting good kills, and the Warrior Pleeks being slowly but surely whittled down here by the long-range ATGMs from the side shots.
Yeah, the golden rule is take the engagements that you want to take, don't take the engagements that your opponent wants to take. And right now we're seeing the British armor being forced into attacking over ground against fortified ATGM positions while flanked by other ATGM vehicles, one of them getting shot down now, and another one, as well as a Brennus tank, modernized French Brennus tank coming into attack. Like, this is just a this is just a preferential engagement. Even if the Milan ones get killed, those things traded themselves up way.
Milan 2 there hitting the Chieftain quite hard as well. Not finding the kill though, and the challengers, they baited the AMX-10 hot here a bit too close now for Jig, and they all start to fall. They are not super cheap either, 17 points each, so a good couple of trades here for Cheesh against Jig, as yes, the Warriors did suffer, but they kind of baited all the enemy units that could hurt the tanks out of position. The Milan ones revealed themselves, got killed off by the Abbots and the Warriors. The MX-10 Hots got killed off now by the Challengers and Chieftains as well, and that leaves a lot of tanks and not a lot to kill them with right now. So
yeah,
the next push,
sorry,
the next push here might be really scary.
Yeah, when you're looking at the divisions on paper, the first UK does have heavier tanks. It does have kind of more expensive equipment in larger way. They can have so many cards of the appliques, and they can just keep buying them to counter the ability of the enemy to kill them. And there is still time. This is only a +2, and Cheech is pretty close to the zone. But so theoretically, this going on for longer could get Cheech into a better position as opposite to Zeke, who would be in a worse position. But that means that Cheech cannot trade down in this kind of crucial mid-game high of both of these players. Kind of having these large mobile groups of units, and every time a missile is launched, there is a possibility that it hits, it does a critical, and when the British tanks get hit, when they're on low cohesion, they lose 15% of their mobility, and going back, the reversing is even slower. So those things back out in basically walking speed.
Yeah, we see the Jaguars here trying to come in. One of them gets shut down. They tried to bomb the enemy units here. One Challenger went down to a Milan 2. The Milan 2 is now really strong, but the Jaguar bombing runs here not paying off at all. The track drop here's in a good spot, killing off 2 of the Jaguars. Third one got damaged, and they got a scout and a bit of damage on the tanks, but we already have a Chinook right behind us to change the situation. Challenger now feels comfortable enough to move in. And yeah, a problem that Cheech has here is now that any kind of stationary units, like Milan 2 teams, get killed off really quickly by the Alf 1. Whilst the Abbots still take a bit too long, allowing Jig to reposition the Milan 2s on their side, time and again, getting good hits here with the Milan 2, which killed off one of the challengers earlier. So the Milan 2 teams need to die. Cheech needs to find a way there, otherwise this is the biggest threat right now for the challengers, whilst his own ATGM teams can't really do the same against the enemy AMXs in that kind of form.
Yeah, the Grenadier Voltigeurs getting sent here, 10-man infantry squads, 50 points, but they do have very good AT weapons and on very have very high range of 750 meters. So these Grenadier Voltigeurs will suck up a lot of damage potential from both the Abbots and the mechanized units, and Meanwhile, as these mechanized units are trying to get rid of those Grenadier Voltigeurs, this is the prime hunting time for all of these cheap and efficient ATGMs that the French have shooting at them. So this is just once again a less preferential engagement for the British.
Yeah, the tanks need to get into better spots again. At least the challengers and chieftains are kept alive, but they need to get back to rearm, reload, and then need to find maybe a better angle of attack. Maybe rotate a bit.
Infantry assault is coming up. Assault pioneers or rifles coming, 6-7 infantry squads being bought.
Yeah, at the same time, a massive movement here by the Mirage, trying to shoot down one Gazelle Recon. That was not worth it at all. As first of all, the Mirages now, all the three remaining one that made it out alive, will be out for a while, allowing maybe even Sheesh to come in with a sneaky fighter bomber right now, but also losing one of them to the tractor up here that were known before. Yeah, exactly. Sheesh seizing the opportunity, realizing that the enemy is out of air superiority fighters here, and comes immediately in with the Harriers. I expected that kind of move, as Sheesh always has some Harriers ready, and they come in with some good bombing runs here. There is decent AA with the roll on 3s, which might get one of the Harriers killed, but at least one of the important infantry units gets blown up, a second one gets damaged, and one of the Harriers gets out alive. And the Rifles and Assault Pioneers now in a fantastic spot up there.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Zeke actually kind of looking into to try to stretch this armor division, and 2 escort PCs as well as a squadron of VAB transport vehicles with heavy machine guns up north, looking to maybe start threatening Zulu and just forcing Cheech to start reinforcing the point by applying some pressure. But yeah, currently we're seeing the Hot 2s, even the Tarasks, the Alf 1s, everything from the French is just moving back. They understand they have lost a very important tactical location, and as long as recon units go to the area which the assault pioneers just captured, that would allow them to spot so much of the open ground, and that is why the French are moving into a more hidden position down south.
Ooh, the Milan 1s and Milan 2s coming in on the wrong road, though. Yeah, okay, gets spotted. Jake realizing that that is not the pathing you want to take there on that directly through the runway, and moves them around, gets them into the buildings. And yeah, now Jake has 1,000 points advantage, 20 minutes to go. Needs to keep that advantage alive, and that should be possible if the ATGMs get into good spots, and if he keeps his tanks alive. The question is, how does Sheesh now go about assaulting the points? Does Sheesh go for Foxtrot, or does Sheesh even try to go for Papa here? The VAB push in the north does happen now, but the Warrior in a good spot there, starting to get rid of one. The VABs actually might be able to kill it here, as they outnumbered 4-1. But they will take a good while with 50 Celts against the Warriors' armor. If they can hit side armor there a bit, they might be a bit more efficient. Warrior has to rotate out. Hellarm coming around. Escorts of AMX 10s moving in once more. And
the French seem to realize that the situation is kind of done, and are moving in to immediately start doing aggro with commandos and helicopters following the VAB push up north. So Cheech will likely kind of be forced to keep on fighting, and that being, of course, a way to keep them out of Foxtrot and Papa. The important part here is that if Cheech if Zeke starts attacking north from these positions to try to keep the British mechanized blob around Echo and around the middle, that could lead to an overextension from either side. And if the fight on the south happens in a such way that Cheech gets a bunch of preferential kills, and being able to just break through this Milan 1 line and getting a couple of kills, Foxtrot could be his or theirs. And it really seems like this is we're going to have to see how the French counterattacks are dealt with now. The HE2, I want to point out, 150-point bomber with insane bomb load of 4 500-kilogram bombs. the damage is insane. If the enemy can't deal with fighters, having 2 of these planes go out there, they can ruin. They also reload pretty fast, and you can afford to lose them.
Yeah, commandos immediately going down. At the same time, though, Jig having a VAB there, shooting down 2 Hellarm helicopters with its 50 cal. That is an MVP unit there, if I've seen one as well. Harrier HE number 2 comes in right at the wrong moment, right as 3 Mirages are over its spawn. Bit of a mistake there by Sheesh. At least Tractor Pierce might be able to retaliate here this time around. No, they are just out of range. Jaguar HE even might get out alive there this time around, as an Abbot there gets bombed. And the Gazelle rocket goes down to the Mirages as well. They feel pretty comfortable there in the northern part of the map. And yeah, Sheesh now trying to push in from the south here with a Chieftain and the Scimitar. But the AMX 10 RCs are in good spots, so Sheesh has to be careful there with this push. Challengers and Chieftains coming around on the other side as well. But there are 4 Milans. There are Gazelle hot helicopters that could rotate around, so you really have to keep everything combined. And the lack of artillery now for Sheesh is a problem with all these Milan 2s and Milan 1 positions.
Yeah, I think Cheech has invested quite a lot of Warrior Milans and also some nice amount of air assets in clearing the north here, and Zeke is sending only a single Brennus and a single commander out there. If Cheech realizes how easy it would be to get to Papa, of course, with the God Vision, we see that immediate dash to Papa could win this game for him. But if the British realize the situation and get the positions, that could push the French into the defensive.
Yeah,
the currently the French are just sitting back there and fortifying the southern side. They really are, and actually the attack is coming towards the southern side. This gamble from the French to keep fortifying the southern side and leaving Papa open with only these diversionary attacks seem to be working, maybe.
well, Cheesh at least will get a CV there, most likely into Foxtrot Joe. Will start to catch up with the Challenger moving in, but the Milan 2 flying towards it already. So that is pretty scary. Challenger has to be careful there to not get side-shotted by a Milan 2. That would be quite devastating here now. +1 situation right now. You want to go up to a +2 at least here, so that you get the 80 points per minute instead of the 40 points. And then, yeah, Papa could give you the +4, could give you 160 points per minute, which would make the catch up here a lot faster. But Milan 2 at least goes down, though at the same time Chieftain, Mark 11 and Scimitar go down as well. The southern situation, I like the position for Jig a bit more here with the hot 2 Gazelles especially. Tractor up here is trying to come around, but they have to be careful with all the AMXs around as well. One of them already under fire. And yeah, can Cheesh protect his tanks here from the Gazelle Hots? That will be a big problem.
Yeah, the earlier on, the Chieftain and Challenger mech blob managed to go head-to-head against the French ATGMs, but that was because the positions were so close that Cheech could, at any point, kind of safely keep the blob aligned, retreat to better positions. Right now, all of these units, they can't retreat. They're not in a position, especially with the Gazelles around. AMX-10 RCs going up their flanks. There are a bunch of Surblinners, 5 Surblinners, 5 AMX-10 RCs actually on the board right now. This is a risky attack, and committing it from Cheech is already seeing a kind of bad engagements against superior forces.
Well, both sides taking some heavy losses down here, but yeah, both sides losing their TV as well, so we have a +1 going on for now at least, which at least gets Cheech a bit closer in points, but is not enough here to really get him where he needs to be, as we have a P4 PC coming up already to stop that +1 take. And at the same time, though, no investments happened at all for Jig in the north, whilst Sheesh did push forward there further with Warrior Leagues, and Sheesh now realizing the situation, has a Challenger Mark II and a Chieftain going for Papa. So yes, the pressure in the south maybe didn't work out, but it focused even more attention of Jigs there, whilst Papa now is basically completely open. We have one AMX 10P and a Brennus there. If the Brennus could get some side shots against the leader Challenger Mark II, that maybe could save the situation, but it would have to be really lucky to do so. So I think Papa will fall, and that could break Jig's neck here.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see even if there are helicopters any less, we're gonna need to see them immediately. Oh no, AMX-30Bs. So the AMX-30Bs, the older generation AMXs, don't have kinetic penetrators, which means they're completely useless against other tanks. Is this really? Are there no B2s? Why are these this being called out here? I guess for soft attack, but
well, against challengers, they're actually basically kind of just as good as the B2s, because at max range, the MX-30Bs can't penetrate, whilst the heat at least does 1 damage.
Okay.
But it's still only 1 damage, so yeah, if you outnumber the Challenger Mark II 4-1, it might actually work out, but it is not a cost-efficient way of dealing with a Challenger Mark II. And you need some other solutions as soon as more tanks and warriors come around. Yeah, the issue with all AMXs is that the warrior pleeks up there will one-shot them. So Disciplined and so on have to be careful here. And yeah, there's no other units around. Like in the south, the fights were won by vehicles outside of tanks. But this time around, it's down to the tanks to win the fight. And I worry that they won't be able to do that. So I feel like Sheesh might be forced in going onto the aggressive path in the south again. As they have cleaned out house there again. They still have the artillery. And there's actually not that much left in Echo here. So a counterattack there could be a way to try to get back in here, but it won't be easy for sure. I feel like running into Papa is suicidal though.
Yeah, any kind of a quick attack here from either side would basically forfeit the recon advantage, and the buildings which hold rifles, scouts, LAW, Law 2, Law 80s. These have excellent. Both pretty good infantry squads with excellent AT weapons. So mad dashes can't really go out there because the infantry just needs to be taken care of. And the buildings provide excellent stealth. So one of the 2 tanks engaged in the push up the north, the Chieftain Mark 9, got hit from an AMX-10 and got an engine incendiary, and needs to be repaired, so it can't engage here. Excellent British manufacturing, of course. So we're going to see the Challenge Mark II go against not 1v1, supported by the Uplique, going against the AMX-30Bs. But in my opinion, the AMX-30s, this is criminal. This is like Polish horsemen going against panzers. Like, no.
Especially if you push closer, because yeah, they don't get anything from pushing closer. They want to, as weird as it sounds, these AMX-30s actually want to fight a long-range engagement here against the challengers. This is not how you would deal with them with the AMX-30B2s at all. There you want to get as close as possible, but these Bs, they take the least damage on max range, and they deal the same damage on all ranges, so they kind of want to fight long range before they can get one-shotted by the challengers here. And they push the 1 Challenger Mark II out here because Cheech doesn't want to risk it. But there is a Chieftain behind it, there is a Warrior, and there is even a Hell-Arm helicopter here. So Cheech should be able to get back there quite soon. He's on a +2 right now. Even if the North stays contested, Cheech would have enough time here to get into the lead against Jig. But I feel like the +4 should be relatively easy to hold. Ooh. Challenger pushes in, AMX-10 RC, if they could come around with a side shot position here, that could change the situation here a bit. But yeah, the AMX-30B2s themselves, the Bs here, only dealing 2 damage, getting nearly one-shotted by the Challenger. Challenger pushing up further, fighting against the AMX-10 RC, getting the kill there too. Commandos trying to dive in, but we have tracked repairs around, which should be able to shoot them down before they can land. Together with the warriors at least. Ooh, they miss twice there. One of the commandos actually seemingly getting out. The other one getting killed off there. And yeah, the Jago HE is maybe the one unit that could save the situation. At the same time though, the South under threat now as well. Challenger leader there already up to try to get in there. And that would be a problem for Jig. Challenger Mark II nearly going down. Has to run now. Doesn't smoke off yet. Harrier coming in on the other side. Can it find the kill? Yes, it can, but at the same time, the AMX-30B2 gets the kill as well. So the North stays neutral for now, but it's obviously a shorter way to get a CV in there for Jake. So big W here for Jake, killing off with the Jaguar and the AMX-30B2. New CV needs to push forward for Sheesh, and Sheesh has a Sultan, but it's out of fuel. I'm not sure how that happened, but
there is the down south, the Apilas almost getting a hit against the challenger leader. More pressure being applied to the side road to south, which is from Cheech. So demanding attention from Zeke, but frankly, I don't think Zeke is gonna be reinforcing the south that much. I mean, the numerous Grenadier Voltigeurs are just a massive issue to take care of when you're getting flanked. Though last armored vehicle in the front line getting killed, so maybe this push can really start happening down south here.
Yeah, we see it now as new Sultan being brought in, but it's being brought in the south as well. The other Sultan, it's getting resupplied here now by the Bedford, so it can move in towards Papa. There's another Sultan being brought in there as well. She needs to get back in there, and at the same time we see an insane amount of AMX-30s now being brought in for the north. Chieftains and warriors dying in the south, as the Milans get the better of them, or actually dying in the center, as MX-30s now are trying to do a counter push there. Milan 2s and Milan 1s doing a good job again, as the Challenger still can't get in there, as the Grenadier Voltigeurs with their Apilas keep them out once more. Apilas getting on top of a warrior here again, does miss actually. Second shot though, finds the hit, finds the kill. And Cheesh still not able to conquer the southern point here. Doesn't have a tick right now, and it's only 7 minutes remaining, so Cheesh needs to get that changed here ASAP.
Yeah, down Echo, 1 Challenger Mark III and 1 Chieftain Mark IX, as well as an applique, engaging the French force, the French tanks, running away before a leader can be put in. So Cheech, for the moment, seems to be getting a hold of this counter push. But of course, the French ability to get stuff out quickly, to spam, and to have pretty alright close range engagements with excellent HE damage, as well as good long-range engagements with ADGMs, at least on defensive, are really showing up here, stretching the enemy. When the enemy builds up a massive mech blob, when all the enemy has their units in a big blob that just goes around and always just gets kills, you want to stretch the blob. You want to attack the sides. You want to push the other sides. You want to force the opponent to divert the troops from the preferred blob formation. And this multiple engagements at the same time really is just it's an efficient way to do that, even when you have the worst units.
Yeah, Hell Arm getting killed off in the north by the Arm 2000s. At the same time, MX-30B2s get rid of a Chieftain Mark IX as well, as they just outnumbered massively. And the Sultan can't get in there. At the same time, CV trying to push over here for Jig. It reduces the tick to a +1 only here. Sultans rotating around, desperately trying to get back in there, but they are slow CVs. That's really the biggest issue of the Sultan. They are pretty cheap. They have 2 armors, so they can survive a bit of artillery. They have 10 hit points, but they are slow CVs. So them coming around here costs a good couple of really important seconds here by now in this game, as we have 5 minutes remaining. A +2 would be enough for Cheesh. A +1 wouldn't be. So Cheesh really needs that +2. At the same time though, only 2 more CVs on the battlefield right now for Jig, both in the south, both MX-30B2s here.
Oh. Finally, some air superiority for the British with 2v1 engagements against the Jaguar. Only a single Roland 3 and a bunch of and a Tarask out there on the field. So the air war slowly going into the favor of the side with the tracked rapiers.
Yeah, the Sultan's now retaking the point over there. The Challenger Mark II otherwise would have died to that Harrier, that HE plane, and then the MX-30B2s could have turned that all around completely again. So it's important that the Challenger Mark II did survive here. We still see the AMX of 1 trying to wreak more havoc. Challenger Mark III in the middle, though, absolutely dominating the MX-30B2s. They can't even penetrate it from the front. So that is a big win. And because of all the MX-30B2s pushing towards Echo, Cheesh actually can drive the Sultan up north again. And I think this is GG. We have a +4. We are racing towards a +6 here, as I don't think anything can stop the Sultan from capturing that anymore. And with that, even with only 4 minutes remaining, time is running really low for Jake here to turn this around.
Yeah, there just needs to be a one last strong armored push, and the French don't have it in them. And yeah, that's the game. What a game so far, and an important one is that, as you mentioned about the divisions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really important game here. Really close KD in the end as well. But sheesh, coming out of top here in game number 1. Really interesting one. Jake and Sheesh being only 600 points apart here in the KD as well. Though a bit more on the ground, I believe, because Jake had a bit more investment in the air. But still, well played by both, and really hyped for game number 2, as these two seem to be quite on each other's level here.
Yeah, and I would like to point out the early Auf one investment from Zeke. Just look at the look at the amount of key units getting killed all throughout the game,
Yeah,
and those
Grand
are the
Mason
kills,
there,
not even the damage that the gun has done.
or Grand Maison, or however you pronounce that in French, really doing a fantastic job.
I believe it is Grand Mason.
Yeah, the question is it the same in English, in French?
Yeah, no. I'm messing with the French.
Yeah, Grand Mason is an interesting French last name. But yeah, it shows you how many English words are stolen and ripped out directly out of French, that they are so close.
Yeah, it's almost like the ruling class of Britain were a bunch of French guys who.
Yeah, it's
who
almost like
conquered.
every war between France and England has been a French civil war, basically, but in its core over the last couple hundred years. Yeah,
That is good. Crimean War proofs. I will not elaborate.
But yeah, GGVP here by Cheesh and Jake, and I'm really hyped for game number 2. So let's go into a short break, guys, and then we're gonna be back with that match number 2. More hyped series after that as well, so don't run away anywhere, guys. A lot of cool matches coming up today. So here we return, guys. Game number 2, Cheesh versus Jake. Cheesh up 1-0 with a really strong late game push there in game number 1. Staying true to his favorite division. First 2K coming around again. Jake on the other side, though, playing in a different division this time. Playing a bit more up in the level per unit as well here with 27th. But before we jump in, guys, one quick shout out to the matcherino page, where you can help out funding the tournament, and you don't even have to pay anything yourself. All you have to do is click the claim code button, and you add 25 cents. We still have 4 codes remaining, so $1 more that can be added to the price for completely for free. But also, big thanks to everybody who came in directly with some money here. Cheesh, for example, coming in with $50. That Redcast, Yasp, Captain Easy, and a couple others already chopping in here to get us to $171. Let's see how far we can get till the end of the seasons. As last time we got really close to the $1,000. Let's see if we can potentially maybe break them this time. But yeah, let's get back into the action here, as these two have a really interesting setup. And what do you think about the 27th pick here on Vertigo?
Yeah, Cheech hopefully has paid for his indulgences, and hopefully the blessings will be with him today, because 27th being an excellent long-range AG division, probably the strongest pack division right now, enough variety, for instance, to be able to do a helicopter infantry opener, despite being a heavily mechanized deck. We're seeing these 40-point Motostrelkis coming in the cars, fast, easily sellable, good recon, and kind of surprisingly, the Sklads and Abzenia out here, we're seeing a kind of a very defensive and very passive. Wait, no, hold on, something's changing. No, we are not saying. We're seeing the Motostrelki Met is coming up in BTR, so even faster units, even more consistently, reliably defensive units. But instead of this being a defensive buy, as I was suspecting because of the field depot, these units are deploying into the enemy's side. On the other side, Cheech is playing very kind of with a large amount of forward deployment units and this Gazelle rocket blob, which is very common on this map and a lot of other maps, unfortunately, too, where these rocket helicopters can go and they can swarm an enemy unit and remove it before running out and retreating. So we're seeing kind of both of these sides buying in a way that implies a early fight over this middle, which is why I think Zeke will be in a slight disadvantage, because they're of course paying 175 points for the Sklads and Abzenia, and of course Zeke does not have forward deployment units, unlike Cheech.
But there's really little here for Jig that can deal with these signs. There is only one tractor up here. We have the air opener basically mirroring last game. We have the classic Mix 90 double MiG-23 opener here from Jake. That's only one tornado again here for Sheesh. And the tornado can't go directly toe-to-toe with these two MiG-23s. It is the better fighter. In a 2v2 situation, it would win most likely. And if it can get some shots off from the side with the sky flashes, it could deal some nice damage here as well. But it is in a tough spot here. Yeah, MiG-23 is coming in for it now, and they should win this fight. Spectre up here, trying to help out from the ground, getting one hit in, but the MiG-23 coming in with the gun run here, actually not finishing the job. Okay, Tornado gets out alive, but the Heinz in the middle, they already start to deal damage. SAS Patrol and Milan 2 already down.
Yeah, currently only the helicopters, the slowly approaching Warrior Milan and Chieftain, and the Scout will be there to defend the Motostrelki from getting into the position. Likely not being able to do that. Having the so if you look at Bravo, the entrance on the western side or the southern side of Bravo, these are excellent defensible positions where you can block the right side player from using the reinforcement route and getting in there. It's possible to take very close range engagements, mostly with infantry. So the build-ups of mechanized attacks on the Bravo side from the right side are pretty difficult. So this is obviously where this investment in BTRs and Heinz went to, being able to take this early, not slugging it out and waiting for the enemy to show themselves, but getting the position now and defending it for the rest of the game. At the same time, we saw that the forward deployment heavy division automatically got the northern sides of Charlie and Delta. So this is obviously kind of counterplaying to the fact that the 27th is a more passive, more mid-game, more mechanized division with more expensive units. And this has I think Cheech just wasn't prepared for this. This Motostrelki Metis are there to stay, and it's very difficult to get rid of them. And every minute there's just going to be more TATs, more BMPs, more good units going up on 45 Bravo.
All the AA just dying to these helicopters here now. Motostrelki Metis got rid of the tractor up here, pushing forward quite aggressively in itself, and with that the last anti-helicopter in the south died. The Tornado with a couple of unfortunate runs there, not getting any of its sidewinders on target. And that leaves the Mi-24Ks and Mi-24Vs completely functional here. They are out of rockets, but they still have gun ammo. The Mi-24K currently going for the repair in the rear, but hunting down the Gazelle rockets here, they can't defend themselves against the Mi-24Vs. They don't have a gun, so they have to run again, and tractor repairs need to be invested into, but at the same time, everything at Delta on the ground died. A really strong helicopter opener here for Jake, and putting Sheesh completely on the back foot here. Double Tornado trying to deal with this, but this is a lot of investment now to deal with the 3 helicopters, meaning that the ground forces of Sheesh here will be a lot weaker than what Jake can bring in now. We see a T-80BV, we see some BMP-3s already coming around, and we have these 3 Motorstrike medics that you were talking about a second ago already here.
Yeah. So the Sklar's Nabzenia is being used to repair the Mi-24K, and likely also being used to plan out for a late game artillery heavy play. 27th does have a lot of artillery, but it really does show the versatility of the division, that even though 27th does have weak air, they can get 2 cards of pretty good ASF, the MiG-29s and the MiG-23 molds. And they get enough helicopters and enough BTRs that even with this the more passive division, you can do that kind of tactics and just completely kind of throw the power balance on the early game off board. And that's very unfortunate for Cheech that they didn't choose to invest in the 2 fighters right there in the open. If they had been playing against 35th or 39th, some other more helicopter-heavy division, the 4th, would have probably bought the 2 Tornadoes, but they likely weren't expecting this from 27th.
Yeah, and the Motorstrike Maddies play against the tractor up here in the south, a really, really strong play as well, killing that off and leaving Sheesh without the capabilities of counter-pushing Bravo. Otherwise, Sheesh might have been able to do that, pushing out the Motorstrike Maddies before the T-80BV can arrive, but by now we have a Concourse M coming in here as well, and all of that will most likely lock itself down, so Sheesh might have to play for the north, but at the same time, they are too late now in the north as well. BTR-80s overrunning a Rover Milan there, RKHM already on the way, Motorstrike is in there. We have the double Tornadoes, at least 2 of the Hinds already shut down, the 3rd one now potentially might go down as well. Strela 10M3 trying to help out against the Tornadoes, who struggle to kill off the MiG-29, but deal a good amount of damage. But Scimitar gets found as well. Strela 10M3 aiming up again, actually getting another missile out, but doesn't find a kill there with that. But the problem is really the southern situation now, forcing Sheesh to get aggressive somewhere, otherwise the +5 will kill them in 6 minutes time, and that's not a lot of time to react here.
Yeah, First UK in this kind of position is really weak, because First UK doesn't win by having excellent superior units that can kind of go beyond the Call of Duty and manage to solo enemy front lines. They can't really do that sort of fundamental space gameplay. They really do have to use the trickery. They have the Pararover Milans, the aircraft. There needs to be a combined kind of a plan going on with First UK, and if you start pulling out pieces of the Jenga block, the Jenga blocks out of the First UK tower, the whole thing can collapse pretty soon, because the individual units can't perform in the same way that like American infantry or M1 Abrams or T-80BVs can. So that's why, and especially with the tanks being just so slow, Cheech is really just has to sit back for some time now and get the machine going, and that's just not that's not realistic here.
Yeah, at the meantime, Strela 10M3 there doing a pretty good job. Chieftain gets the kill, but immediately gets fired upon by a lot of ATGMs there in return, and has to run away with its tails between its legs again. Motorstrike Maddies here, continuously firing. Warriors trying to push forward, but the BMP-3 and the T-80BV have this under pretty good lockdown, and First UK really doesn't have artillery to play from this, so you kind of need your air to win, but the Strela 10M3s and the other short-range AA that all have great accuracy and good damage, Tor, the Tunguska, the Strela 10 M3, they shut down Harrier play quite quickly. At least it is not here right now, so more needs to be brought up. One Tunguska currently coming in, so the Harriers might find some value this time around. They find a Motorstrike, they find a Conqueror, so that's maybe the way that Sheesh can get back here, but Sheesh also needs to get some ground relatively quickly here, and the Motorstrike RPG-27 make that a bit harder now by killing off the Chieftain here in the forest.
Yeah, every time the Cheech gets close to solving one problem, is it the air superiority problem, is it the helicopter problem? A couple of other problems have already traveled from the western side of the field up to the middle, including Rasvedka BMP2s, even more Motorstrelki Metis, a bunch of BTRs moving and using both their heavy machine guns as well as their very fast road speed. Excuse me. To push the backline, causing even more problems, forcing Cheech to stretch even further.
Yeah, Warrior Pleeks here, trying to find some solutions as well. Trying to help out against the Motostrelki Metis. Trying to help out against the BMP3s, but they have a bad time here not finding any hits. Challenger needs to be careful, and it's a 5-minute 20 timer now. Tornado's staying really far behind, trying to maybe even figure out what kind of AA and if AA is coming up, but at the same time, Challenger now getting side-shotted. We have a couple of BTR 80s just running insanely deep there, and maybe even being able to ambush some transports with their KPVT gun here on top. And that's a pretty scary situation as well.
Yeah. So the first UK tank tab is very competent at holding ground after you have had a strong air, helicopter, and forward deployment opener. First UK is not good at attacking fortified positions with like a numerically superior enemy. Even if they don't get killed, even if the tanks survive, even if the tanks get shots off, they are immobilized when they're on the offensive by their very slow speed, in Chieftain's case 45 kph, getting lowered 15% when they're on low cohesion. And the Soviet tanks have autoloaders. The Soviets have a lot of really good missiles, and this just like the British can't perform in this kind of situation. This tank tab is designed to be in a different kind of a fight, not this one.
Yeah, BTR 80 is trying to be annoying in the rear, at least get cleaned up, but it's a 3-minute 40 timer, and even if Cheesh captures 1 point in the south, it wouldn't be enough. It would only reduce the take to a +2, which would give a couple more seconds of time at this point, but Cheesh kind of needs to get to alpha here now, and with one of the Challenger Mark IIIs going down in the front, and only one Chieftain here now being around to try to do that, it's hard to see that happen. So we might have a draw here at hand in this one, and this is a pretty strong one here. So yeah, the situation somewhat unlikely. A couple of good kills could potentially, like if the TADBV gets sniped somehow, some way, and maybe the Harriers come around with a couple of good bombing runs. That's what they will attempt at least. We could see a situation where the South can break, and if you can push through down to Foxtrot, the point take at this point is not really the problem. But losing Gazelle rockets like this is, and the Harriers not really going for the most valuable targets here, dropping onto the Motostrelki Metis, that's nice and all, but one of them already gone down, second of them getting hunted down as well, and the TADBV is still alive, and that's the big thing here that blocks any push from happening. 2 minutes 30, and yeah, I don't see how she can come back at this point.
Yeah, now there's a grad in the field. The Harriers really show the core problem here. Is the Harriers are devastating. Like if you buy first minute Harriers, 300 points for 2 of them. If you buy them at first minute, you save 40 points in your opener. You can just ruin people. People will rage quit after you open. Like you get the positions and you take out key units at the start, and then you just keep on the Chieftain train coming and bringing out like defensive and affordable heavily armored tanks. Like that's very powerful, but those units when they're put into this different situation, when they're taken away from their kind of optimal opener kind of performance area, they're just lacking. You can't press through superior enemy forces with just the Harriers. You have to play them right at the start before the enemy has gotten a bunch of Tunguskas out.
Yeah, Me-24Ks, Me-24Vs, Me-24 VAT here with insane kill lists at the beginning. That air opener from Jake, a really strong idea. Obviously, can be triggering some PTSD for some people out there who played a bit too much Wargame Red Dragon back in the day or played earlier days of WARNO as the helicopter opener. It looks unfair. It really isn't at this day and age, but it was the right strategy to pull here. Like, Cheesh left the air defense really underdeveloped and also brought in the units that died quite quickly there, came in with a bit too much forward deploy, came in with helicopters that got shut down easily by the Me-24V here. So Jig really finding the right solution for the problem and getting the W here, well deserved in this game too.
Yeah, no BMPs in the opener, no good targets for all of the Paramilan cars. No, like the investment from Cheech was to play against a standard 27th build, so this non-standard approach just immediately crippled the first advantage at the start.
Yeah, and that leaves us still with both of these players having the same amount of points, so we will need a tiebreaker game for them in the upcoming days. As Division 2, as we will have a look here right now, is nearly finished. We are in the last days of the group stage. The official planned end was this today, as Golden Panzer was traveling, and we still need the tiebreaker games anyways. Startek and Golden Panzer will play next Tuesday, as that is the decider game here for Group A as well, who gets through. And yeah, as you can see here, Blitzwar, Proletary, and Medi all having a three-way draw, as they all draw against each other, getting a win here against Joker. So we will need a tiebreaker here as well, as it's a pretty ugly three-way tie. And yeah, Cheesh and Jake here coming in with a win each against Skinner and a draw against Dusey. Yeah, needing a tiebreaker as well. Only the last group here, with most likely the favorite of the whole event here, Crispiest River, coming around as Group D number 1 here, with Voids me on second place here in this group. And it's the only one that is yet decided. So gonna be quite interesting to see what comes on here. Division 2 is a second tier league. It's players with quite high level of skill, but not quite the top level. Division 1 is where we're also going to go in a second, the highest level of skill, but the league format is so that everybody has fair matches and good matches when they sign up, and then they also can progress towards higher leagues for upcoming seasons and have a motivation there to go up while it's not being curb stomped in the first round. So yeah.
Also, it allows players of WARNO to see kind of decision making and commentary and gameplay closer to their own levels. Division 4 and Division games, I think watching them as a lower level player can be very good for you to understand kind of good gameplay without having to be on the top tier level of having the best micro. And in Division 3, we've seen games be won pretty much just by good decision making and not by good like fundamental mechanics.
Yeah, exactly. So it really is a fun way for everybody in the community who wants to get some competitive 1v1, no matter at which point in the skill level development they are at. And we have Division 1 with the highest level, where also the most of the prize money will go. And then Division 2, which are basically like the up-and-comers, the hotshots that are close to getting in. Division 3, which are a lot of senior players who just want to have some fun, but also some newer players that are still developing. And then Division 4, which is mostly new players that are in their first big tournament and that are trying to get a hang of it, getting used to how rule sets work and so on, and have a bit of fun with each other whilst being shielded away from team and plays and so on, noob stomping them like in other tournament formats. So yeah, all of that quite interesting. We're gonna go into Division 1 now, into the top level. Short break, guys, then we're gonna be back with some matches there, starting with Wooden Box versus Neff.
Yes, this is the game I am waiting for.
So yeah, guys, we have a bit of a technical problem. We can't open up the replay files right now, so we have to check what exactly is going on there. Give us a minute till we have figured out the situation. So yeah, we are trying to figure out to see if it's somehow a modern version or if they play it on Strike Team build, guys, but I couldn't get them to work yet. We might have to go for a different series here. So yeah, stick with us, guys. Sorry for the long delay. We're gonna try to figure something out here. So here we return, guys. And yeah, unfortunately, it's not a wooden box versus Neff, and it's also not a wooden box versus Lathans, as both of these games somehow don't want to work with the replay files on our end. We even checked if they maybe played on the wrong version by accident, if they played on with a vision mod or anything like that. But with everything of that activated, the mod it still doesn't launch. So it seems to be something with the replay file. I'm not sure if it's on my end or if it's the general replay file that is somehow bugged, but yeah, we're gonna go into some other Division 1 games instead here. We're going in Dark Neutron versus Yukipor, which is a really important matchup for both of these players, because Dark Neutron lost one round already. Yukipor lost one round already. And they both have one draw next to that. So they both need a kind of a win here right now to get through this group stage. And yeah, Yukipor obviously really, really high up there in ranked. Would be, and really high in the last Super Tournament. So it would be a shame to get eliminated that early. But Dark Neutron, a really strong player as well. So not a pushover either. We're gonna see with great results in previous ranked league seasons as well. So yeah, what do you think about this matchup here? 27 versus 30.
I think this is interesting because Hesse, of course, is a bit defensive map because all of the points are 1-point zones. So taking the risk for them is not necessarily always worth it. So many positions, corners, sight lines, tree lines, and the map is also pretty large. So it's just leads to more defensive mid-game engagements, and people who have attempted to do rushes have had to work for the aggression more than on other maps. So that's why it's interesting that we are seeing currently the top equipment coming from the Americans and the Soviets. The 27th, seen in an earlier game, BMP3s, high-tech units, very expensive but versatile, weaker air tab, but enough helicopters and pretty decent AA, as well as an excellent artillery. And on the American side, we're seeing the most expensive division in regards to the heaviest tanks, the heaviest airplanes, the F-15s, as well as a large amount of these Engineers Dragon 10-man 40 point currently bugged and overpowered units. And I think we're looking to see a slow and heavily armed kind of these armored units fighting and grinding against each other. At least that's what it looks like right now.
Yeah, Yukipor coming in here with 27th. BMP3 is coming around in big numbers. BTR 80 coming up as the CVs here from the get-go. Two of them moving in. And no tanks on the side of Yukipor, as you already have quite expensive units with the BMP3s, so affording tanks next to that is not that easy. On the other side, Dark Neutron coming in with one M1A1 immediately, second CV out as well. We quite often in the past from Dark Neutron saw even a double tank CV opener, but this time around it's always two CVs, I feel like, with Dark Neutron. This time it's one M1A1 Abrams and one MAT CP. The double tank opener is already named the Dark Neutron opener on this channel, just like the double plane one is the Mix 90, as it's so iconic with Dark Neutron, but not quite the right one for this map, I guess, and that's why we see only two CVs here on each side either instead. But yeah, Engineered Dragons, really strong at the moment. Hopefully getting fixed next week. At the moment, they have double the normal suppression they should have, meaning that they instantly stun any tank that they hit directly, and even stress them quite out with a near miss. Plus, ATGMs at the moment often deal damage when they miss as well, because their AoE effect of their explosion of the warhead is a bit busted as well. So, Dragon 1 teams, 440 points, really, really strong. And that might be the problem here for Yukipor in this game. Dealing with this cheap unit plus the strong tanks behind it. But yeah, BMP3 on the other side, not a weak unit either.
Yeah, the fight here will be between American massed ATGMs, Fireteam Dragons, maybe, as well as with the Engineer Dragons, fighting against the Soviet fire support or even fire supremacy weaponry. So the BMP-3s have two guns as well as a very good missile. The missile kills Bradleys easily. It's better. It's got better accuracy, better range, better speed. So the missile reaches the Bradley before the TOW2 can reach the BMP-3. And the BMP-3 has two guns, one autocannon and one soft attack cannon, 100 millimeters, 10 rate of fire, and I don't think it has a autoloader, but I think mechanically it looks like it has an autoloader. Anyways, every BMP3 basically has like 2/3 or 3/4 of a T80 gun to do soft attack for free at max range. So we're gonna so BMP3s kind of often feed into the blob tactics, because if you have three of them, those things can just wipe out infantry squad from the map.
Yeah, and we see BTR-80 pushing around herself. Yeah, Dark Neutrons needs a draw here at least to keep then their chances alive of moving on in a game against Burthex after this. And Yuki Paw here needs a win to get out alive, as they have one draw, one loss. It's a really surprising loss of Yuki Paw against Burthex that we casted a couple of days ago. Actually live on the channel. BTR-80 here running over snipers, getting a good kill there. Meanwhile, Spetsradredka in a good spot here, aiming out to the side. Bradley CFV rolling forward, and at the meantime, good amount of BMP3s here now setting up for this open field. And yeah, the Bradleys, as you said, they get one-shotted by the Kokon 9M or 17 here, and the Bradley TOW2 really strong, but it's super expensive, and they don't quite get there in time before the Kokon arrives with them, so they have a bit of a troublesome situation there in the long-range engagements.
Yeah, heavy investment on both players' side. Actually, recon is very important on this map, even more so than others, because there's so much to look at, so many different sight lines, so many variances in terrain, and all of these constitute a chance to for the enemy to flank you and just ruin you immediately. But a 310 point A1HA Abrams coming right out with 22 penetration and 21 armor, just absolutely outclassing everything in the 27th. The only thing that can penetrate the HA Abrams from the Soviet side is the Conqueror's M, I believe, and we're only seeing the regular Conquerors, not the more expensive Conqueror's M missiles. Of course, in close range, kinetic penetrator tank guns can penetrate it, but the HA Abrams has to be closer than max range for this to happen.
Yeah, Bradley smoking off against the BMP3 here in the south. Second BMP3 comes in though, gets the kill there. First Bradley even losing its turret down there as it goes down in flames. Abrams being pushed out, both sides having secured all their points. As we have not much movement down far in the south. We only have one scout and a recon jeep here with a 50 cal. On the other side, one Vajvetka Saperi to scout out the situation, whilst TDBV comes in to support the BMP3s here. And yeah, if the M1A1HA can get close, it will dominate. The issue is, will the ATGMs allow that?
Yeah, and there is a Nona coming up, the self-propelled mortar from the Soviets, the very good, very cheap, potentially one of the best cost-effective artillery units in the game right now is the Nona. Please remind me, does the Nona have smoke?
Yes, it does have smoke. It also has a really interesting heat gun in this version, with which it can potentially penetrate some normal M1A1s as well. But you usually don't want to use it for the direct fire roll. Its accuracy in that roll is pretty abysmal. BMP3 number 1 goes down here. Igla under fire by the Abrams. Needs to be withdrawn here now, as yeah, the Igla goes down. BMP3 is under heavy fire as well. M1A1HA on max range though, just barely not one-shotting them. So BMP3 surviving with 1 hit point, even against the high penetration gun here of the M1A1. But needs to be really careful as more Abrams come onto the battlefield. With the BMP3, as you pointed out, beating the Bradley, it seems like Dark Neutron doesn't want to risk them at all, even though they could be really good against the TADBV with their TOW2. But it's really cheap infantry and then really expensive tanks here as combination here for Dark Neutron, whilst Yukipo goes for the middle of the road.
Yeah, Yukipo, with 27th, you only get a 1 card of AT planes, and your air slots are really restricted. So you get 2 Su-17 M4 ATs. One of them is currently getting hounded by the Eagle. These are some of the only things that can, like, realistically and quickly get rid of the HA Abrams, and half of them has been taken down now, with the Eagle surviving without getting hit. Kind of surprising was seeing Yukipo. But both sides have a lot of recon here, which is obviously the recon exists there to allow the Abrams to do fighting. But Yukipo investing heavily into infantry. Of course, a lot of cover here, and these positions in which Yukipo have put the BTR-80 commander as well as the Conqueror SEMs and this kind of forest area south of the railway hill is I think Yukipo wants to play this kind of slowly and wants to build up an infantry and defense and ATGM heavy front line from which the artillery can start doing reliable damage. Because from these positions, even though a tick is not happening, X-Ray and India, Lima, the positions are under threat right now. And this makes sure that the HA Abrams, wherever they are, wherever Dark Neutron wants them to be, the HA Abrams are going to have to be right here defending those zones. Just this positioning here is a way to try to negate the mobility advantage that these tanks have. You have to remember they have a speed of 68 kilometers per hour and very good stabilizers. Like the HA Abrams don't really want to be that static, but this investment in the slow walking these ATGMs up really seems to kind of feed into this attempt by Yukipo to make this a static game.
Yeah, Motostrike Maddies here being pushed back again. The M1A1HA and M1A1CP here holding the line quite nicely so far. We see some Cobras coming up as well. The northern part of the town completely without any pressure from either side towards Alpha and November. Both sides there content as the push. Obviously both divisions with a lot of strong units for the open ground, so that's where they fight here. TADBV trying to move forward a bit. Smoke trying to allow the BTR-80 to get in here. I'm not quite sure if the smoke is good enough yet though, so the BTR needs to be careful. Nona tries to come in with another smoke salvo, clearing the way for the BTR there to try to get some point advantage. BMP3 here coming in with some long-range ATGMs. Not finding anything just yet though, and the Spectra Redka get spotted, get pushed back as well. Risky play here with that BTR-80, but the smoke coming along now might allow the BTR to get in there to at least find the neutralization, though the first smoke field there might clear off relatively soon, and then the BTR-80 might be in trouble.
Yeah, if Yukipo has 100 points more than his opponent, this means that Dark Neutron has to go on the offensive, and there's going to be some while. There's some amount of ground here until the red zones of Zulu and Echo are shown, and these forests are filled with Soviet infantry, and the infantry fights in towns is exactly the fight that Dark Neutron does not want to take with the lower veterancy, smaller infantry squads.
Yeah, BMP3 getting hit there pretty hard. The BTR-80 does get killed. It did get the neutralization of the point, so it might actually get Yukipo to the 100 point advantage, as Dark Neutron is not trying to get back in there right now, knowing that a lot of BMP3s and KDBVs are waiting for the CP Abrams here, the command vehicle, to move forward, so it doesn't want to risk getting hit there. But that means that Yukipo will get that point lead that will force Dark Neutron to come in and attack later on. BMP3 goes down in the south, M1A1 here sharking nicely, and I think slowly but surely whittling down the BMP3 number is a good attempt of Dark Neutron here and a good way to try to win this game. When you then have that M1A1 ball that just can roll forward, but it's still a good bit of that.
Yeah, the M1A1 ball will happen sooner or later, as long as Dark Neutron keeps these Abrams alive. But I think currently, I'm afraid we might be seeing a little bit of an overextension. There's a lot of good vision from Dark Neutron currently, spotting a lot of these vehicles of Yukipo on the open, and the HA Abrams with all the Abrams has such good guns, and they can easily go and peek out and run back before the ATGMs catch them. So with the expensive units, even though they need to be microed, they're very powerful when they are microed. And we're seeing an A1 Abrams getting a bunch of hits, going half health almost, and going to low cohesion and having the smoke itself out. That is what happens with Abrams when they're not microed. They take a couple of hits, they get stunned, and suddenly they could be a sitting duck. Nona immediately opening fire behind the smoked up Abrams and not hitting it, but still applying some pressure. And another hits coming, side shots to take out the wounded Abrams.
Yeah,
that's the other side of the coin here. But then Apache moving in to hunt down this and face down at Tunguska.
Conqueror's M getting destroyed. M1A1 here getting rid of the Spatch Redka. M1A1HA rolling back. The Redka Saperi engaging here in the south. Conqueror is getting killed off. Apache rotating around. Gets hit pretty hard though by the Tunguska. Can the Tunguska finish off the job? It can't. Okay, Apache will stay alive for now. High ECM saving it there, but the loss of the Abrams there in the middle, not retreating it further, not smoking it off the next time around, was a big mistake. The M1A1 in the south nearly killed off the TDBVK, but Yukipo faster on the smoke there, and now Engineered Dragons there get demolished. M1A1 HA in the north gets hit and stunned as well. As the Motostrelki Maddies here desperately try to find the kill. Fireteam Law and MP Patrol pushing forward as well. Nearly finding the kill into the Motostrelki is there. Should work on finishing that off. But so far, only a +1 for Yukipo, but that +1 is already nearly 200 points ahead now.
Yeah, there is a lot of infantry, and I would like to point out another positive side of the Abrams that is not as often repeated, which is the fact that the Abrams have 3 machine guns, which are really good, and one of them is a 50 cal. So even at like 1,400 meter range, if the Abrams are used offensively, they can do a lot of HE damage against the Soviet infantry. But the existence of the Conquerors and the BMP3s here mean that the closer the Abrams get, which is where they need to be to drive the Soviet infantry out of the tanks, the more likely it is that they either get hit by missiles and stunned, or side shot, which might be happening right. No, the stun happening, and dodging the side shots, but showing the risk of just going out there on the open. The speed advantage of the tank shell as opposed to the ATGM kind of means that the closer the tanks get, the more they need to be microed, and the more likely it is that the stun is going to happen and the units get sideshot. Yes.
Yeah, we see a Apache now being repaired in the south. We see M1A1HA there now next to the M1A1. So we have 4 M1A1s or HAs right now on the battlefield. In the south, we have a couple of Cavs that can stun down enemy Medis units, especially quite nicely with one shot. And artillery on the side of Dark Neutron as well, but not controlling the X-ray point yet. Still not being able to get that under control is still a problem, as Yukipo now 300 points ahead nearly already. The BTR-80 did sacrifice, but it was a worthwhile sacrifice by now. So Yukipo here in a good position, I think, to push this game even further ahead now.
Yeah, the CEV gun, the Combat Engineering Vehicle, is powerful, but it's got a rate of fire of 3 3 per minute, and when it's a low cohesion, that rate of fire is lowered to less than 2 per minute. And after getting a Conqueror's hit up the front, a couple of Conqueror's hits actually, the CEV was put down on low cohesion. So it is not the most efficient vehicle to attack these units in the front line, and the dual Nonas actively firing and probably slowly applying some amount of pressure, especially taking out these supply vehicles, which are the only way for these Abrams to continuously keep themselves up to speed.
Yeah, the smoke play that we saw earlier from Yukipor really is a classic on this high level of play. It was a bit misplayed there. Nona's not so great at providing the smoke. That's how X-Ray got neutralized. I'm surprised that we didn't see the same kind of play for Dark Neutron to get that M1A1 back into the zone, and that Dark Neutron leaves the +1 here open. I guess thinking that he would be able to push all of this out anyways relatively soon, so he doesn't need to go for the extra effort, but this hasn't happened yet. Instead, Yukipor brought more and more units in here, not really losing anything lately, and that really leads to so many ATGMs. There's so many T80s that can potentially hit Dark Newton's units whenever they move forward. Finds a BMP3 kill here, at least in the south, but still problematic.
Up north, the there's an ammo explosion. T-80BV, 2 T-80BVs close range engaging the HA Abrams. The command T-80 gets a critical hit and smokes itself out. Other T-80 challenges, does some more damage, and the HA Abrams is... oh no, the T-80 is pursuing. This could be an overextension here. No, Dark Neutron is pulling the most valuable tank back in the back line. So far, that has been one of the only situations in which the HA Abrams has been at a range where the enemy guns can penetrate it.
Yeah, and got the better out of it anyways, though. Both T-80s here need to be repaired. Currently no supply around for them, so might be an opening in the north, but yeah, no other units really around to try to push through that. As in the south, M109 trying to help out. T-80BVs here, staying active, hitting the Motostrelki Medis, but there is enough supply here to repair damaged units. T-80BV and BVK coming up as well. EHA Abrams staying in the south, the Apache not really being used, and I feel like what Dark Neutron could try to do now is trying to set up a push in the north, but they are pretty focused on the south here right now. Yeah, they now do the smoke play as well. There we go, M1A1 CP will find the point again, but it's a 400 point lead by now for Yuki, so it is absolutely in Dark Neutron's... the ball is in Dark Neutron's part of the court, as they will need to push in here to get through it.
Yeah, HA Abrams bullying and trying to... so with more fire teams coming, Dark Neutron, if Dark Neutron manages to drive this this forest line, which is being thrown up over in the north side of the of outside of the city, if Dark Neutron manages to get this, the Abrams can do insane damage on everything. The Yukipor's flank could collapse, so Yukipor needs to keep fighting for this seriously. The T-80s need to form a defensive depth formation, which would allow them to keep firing at any enemy units that would go to the area which currently is held by the Motostrelki Metis and the 2 BMPs. Like this zone can't be afforded to lose, because that would completely just destroy the flank of Yukipor and make Yukipor's southern investment way less relevant and vulnerable.
Yeah, we have 2 S3M Akatsias here moving around now. M1A1CP under fire. It's interesting, these are not the guided ammunition Akatsias, these are the normal ones. They are not the M1s, they are just the Ms. As yeah, with the current changes to the latest changes to artillery, they are pretty accurate as well if you get them close enough. So it seems like Yukipor doesn't want to pay the extra price and the lower availability there for the guided ammunition, which in my eyes makes sense. Whilst on the other side, the M109 did fire a good couple of rounds already as well. M1's still trying to brawl here in the middle, get a hull breach though, and it really shows the strength of ATGMs currently, which is intensified by the issue regarding their AoE that we talked about earlier as well, that they often deal damage even when they miss at the moment, which is something that is changed in the next patch, but currently still in the game. So everything with an ATGM and even everything with AP does a bit more damage. So tank fights are a bit more deadly than they ought to be, and that really makes pushing with the M1A1s here a bit harder than it should be.
Yeah, and the T80s, as we have mentioned before, they have autoloaders, which means that even if they start getting shot, if an Abrams and a bunch of T80 BVs go against each other, no matter how wounded the T80s are, their rate of fire will be kept up. Though that is a bonus, especially in close range engagements against the Abrams. And the T80 currently is just, especially the BV variant with one extra health, is such an excellent defensive unit. It's been probably the best defensive tank in the game for so long, and now that the BMP3s are such a dominant aspect of 27th, 27th just has an endless amount of defense left in it itself.
Yeah, M1A1 here pushing forward, hitting the Igla, Motostrelki Medis under fire as well. Igla going down, the Medis being pushed out as well. And yeah, Fire Team 84 pushing through the south. Igla here versus Fire Team pushing around. M1A1HA should be able to get rid of the Igla. Yeah, should be able to kill that there, but the Special Redka is still around, and there's too much AA for the Apache as well. The Apache could be a really valuable asset, but that's like the Apache and a couple of other things are what makes me think that Dark Neutron really should have pushed towards November at some point in the last couple of minutes. Rotating around there with a helicopter, whilst there's no AA there around yet, could really have swung the situation there quite quickly into the favor of Dark Neutron. Instead, the Apache is still stranded down south here and not achieving much there. The kill is still in favor of Dark Neutron here, only red units dying really, but the M1A1s have to be careful, and as I say that, I jinxed it. SU-17 gets one M1A1HA and gets an M1A1 in the south as well. Yes, it gets killed by the Eagle, but that double kill was really, really painful here nonetheless.
Yeah, that was a very crucial hit, right as there is no real leader here. Third US is just going, the machine is wearing itself up really well right now. So many Abrams out here, so much potential damage, and Dark Neutron is probably counting the minutes, looking at the very small 400-point disadvantage that it currently is at, and just counting out, taking out a 3 Abrams, taking out a BMP, for free. But yeah, sooner or later, all of this, the machine has to start going. Sooner or later, there is no amount of units that can make this even more powerful than it is, without having some diminishing returns, because Yukipo will theoretically be able to do defense in depth to every single, with ATGMs in every single forest line, if Dark Neutron waits for too long.
Yeah, we see an M1A1CP being taken out by a Conqueror's M here now as well. T80BVK getting involved as well. The Conqueror's M really being the big problem down here now, hitting really hard, and spalling crit onto the M1A1CP number 2, bringing it pretty low as well. It's super low, surviving with 1 hit point though. T80BV surviving the M1A1HA barely as well. 2 hit points actually there. Next one getting hit pretty hard as well. HA Abrams have to rotate out, but another loss there. Meanwhile, BVK in the middle gets taken out. So both sides losing some tanks, but Yukipo super fine with any trade right now. Yukipo just needs to hold on. But as you said, the point advantage is not that massive. So if Dark Neutron can find a way through, it's not that long and not much of a tick that they need to get through here. Cobra being pushed back by the Iglas, but they get some nice kills as well. The kill feed like really red over the last couple of minutes for the most part, but the SU-17...
Yukipo attempted to capture back the northwestern side of the forest here by putting 4 infantry units from the northern side, which is currently in red control. But as those troops came down from the railway hill, the Cobras just ruined all of them, just further pushing Yukipo away from controlling this position. Yukipo actually kind of repositioning units, maybe recognizing that this forest might not be his for so long.
Yeah, Conqueror's coming in. We have a good amount of T-80BVs now around. We have the Akatsias aiming up and being ready to fire. Getting some shots out now. Trying to get some kills here on the left side. Hitting only the open ground for now though. As more tanks coming in. More Kevs this time around, together with some Bradleys. As the BMP3 number has dropped quite significantly. The Bradleys might be the right combination now to break the T-80BVs. With their great ATGM, the TOW2 dealing a lot of damage for its price in the vehicle. But on the same end, the Bradleys will struggle to push through any kind of ATGM. Conqueror's M though, yeah, all those kills with the M109 here, pretty good at opening up the playing field, but it's only 40 minutes remaining now, so Dark Neutron needs to pull the trigger at some point in the upcoming 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, 10 minutes is more than enough time to get through 400 points. But I would just be concerned over Yukipo being able to replenish these recent losses that they had. This really is currently the moment. Really, seems to be Dark Neutrons. Every second that this keeps going on, more infantry units are just gonna be bought from Yukipo, and I do believe Yukipo's infantry tab is way deeper than the third US. Even though the third, of course, is Bradley's, which are also a very powerful unit, so it's not an infantry tab to be laughed at.
Yeah, Mortal Strike RPG 27 getting bullied by Engineer Flash here in the south. Strike Eagle trying to come around, not hitting the helicopter though, as it gets landed there by Yukipo. Great reaction, good reaction there. Protecting the helicopter, stopping the plane from being able to spot it. And the Engineer Flash here might be in trouble as soon as that pops up again, as there is no great AA here around to deal with it. Apache coming around once more, trying to deal with the tanks here. Tunguska wasn't able to shoot at it at first. Now comes around though, gets one missile on target, and finds the kill onto the Apache. At the same time, M1A1 CP goes down in the south as well, and that is a really big problem now for Dark Neutron, as we are down to 13 minutes and losing 2 expensive units here without getting anything out of these trades.
No, but something is happening up north on the northern side of the railway bridge. There is a column of Abrams as well as a P-Wards pushing through, and with only 2 Motostrelki RPG 26s out there, T-80 and BMP3 as well as helicopters all moving into intercept and to fight these tanks on close range. They are vetted up by the command Abrams, and of course all of these units, these Abrams, have incredible amounts of machine guns, so the soft attack potential against the singular infantry units is massive, though a side shot is made by the first RPG 26 squad.
Yeah, M1A1 there already damaged. We have Radvetka around, we have another Motostrelki, Bradleys and the Kevs coming around now as well. There is mostly Iglas around where they go now, right now. Another CV might be interesting to try to go for the northern part, as we only have 12 minutes remaining. The southern part seems to be stopped by now by Yukipo. Yukipo also now focusing into the center, as is Dark Neutron. Artillery coming around. Fireteam Dragon and Cobras trying to deal here with the infantry. Iglas setting up to fire. And
all of Yukipo's units are moving into defense, while Dark Neutron has kind of stopped right before getting into the zone, giving Yukipo some crucial seconds to fortify this. Yukipo sent a Tunguska up front. The Tunguska actually got really good damage to an Apache, but was taken out. This was a risky overextension there, trying to take out the second Apache for the price of a 135-point Tunguska.
At the same time though, Tunguska in the south gets the Cobra as well. As 2 Cobras go down, Dark Neutron may be hoping that the pull north means that the AA moves north as well, but it stayed south. One Igla still around as the Tunguska does fall to the M1A1HA, but there doesn't seem to be a way for Dark Neutron to get through the south. And yeah, the center looked really good, but units maybe stopped a bit too early, as now a good amount of Motostrelkis and TADBVs and a lot of helicopters especially are already there. Motostrelki Medis getting taken out somewhat, but more is needed here to get the CV tank in. Dark Neutron on the way to try to get into the town. Can they make it?
Yeah, now as Dark Neutron is getting there, there's already there's 3 helicopters and a bunch of more Conquerors M are coming up. Conquerors are fortified, 2 infantry squads is BMPs moving in. Like this, they could have just gone a little bit further, just slightly a bit further, and this position could be completely different. But I guess they were just afraid of having of infantry units being in the buildings up north. So they waited for the Bradley infantry and the CEVs to capture these buildings, not driving the Abrams close enough. But there were no serious infantry challenges out there. And now that the tanks are moving up there, this is everything that Yukipo has left in their deck has been put here to counter this one push. Artillery firing, doing immense damage. Or the cohesion of these tanks, even these elite AJ Abrams going down to mediocre, reloading lowering their accuracy, reload time, movement speed, just significantly.
Yeah, F-15s here with a deep dive again, actually working out, getting another kill into a hind, but they are damaged and we're down to 9 minutes now. So really, Dark Neutron needs to get something done in the next 4 or 5 minutes to have a realistic chance here of turning this game around, and it seems doable, but it seems really hard at this point, as all the zones are decently defended, and the northern zone, there's not enough stuff around. Maybe if you rotate through it now, but Motostrelki RPG-27 is already on the way to shut down the one potential window there, and trying to get between them and the road up north, and that's a pretty painful stuff here now for Dark Neutron, as Yukipo seems to be on the way to W here in Game 1.
Yeah, Dark Neutron's artillery actually has not been resupplied and kept firing, even though there's a bunch of free supply out there on the board. Meanwhile, both the Acacias as well as the Nona SVKs, the artillery from the 27th, just the amount of free damage that they get for having pretty good like recon infantry, the Spetsnazvedka, even without the ground surveillance radar up the front here, spotting out enemies and being able to have so much firepower come on top of them so quickly, kind of negates the ability for the enemy to constantly micro when you have so many expensive units, and the bombardment after them happens so fast. That's just a way to just get some free units, especially when your enemy is microing their tanks up the front, which is happening now with the second push up the middle here, though already a significant front line has been built. The artillery used very efficiently to suppress these corners in which the tanks would be coming to engage this front line. Just exceptional 27th gameplay from Yukipo, and even though the Abrams micro has been very high tier here, the ability for Yukipo to force a defensive game all throughout the game with these 400 points is just such an excellent way of countering third, which on paper has the better equipment for this kind of a fight.
Yeah, M1A1HA once more here, trying to force the issue in the south, but there's 3 TADBVs there still waiting for them. One is having a mobility crit with an engine destroyed, and the second BV not coming around, but oh, there's actually a 4th one on the flank, and that is a big problem here. I believe on the next patch, the fights could have looked a bit different, and we will see how things will plan out. I think Armored Division will be a good bit more mobile again once ATGMs have been brought back to heal, but especially from the games I have played so far. And hopefully the patch comes next week, maybe even already early next week. Eugen is working hard on getting the release build ready for the DLC and the patch, but in the current build, ATGM positions really strong, and yeah, Yukipo played it to the maximum here in this matchup. It was minimalistic kind of gameplay from the 27th, but it did function here, and it really shows what kind of games Yukipor kind of plays. Like, it really is a classic Yukipor game here. Going for the W, knowing what is necessary to get there, and then just playing it that way.
Even the RPG-27 infantry unit crossing the railway bridge and trying to get a hit in there, even small moves like that, maximizing the ability or the potential of the units. RPG-27, of course, is a very short range but extremely powerful Soviet AT missile. Finally, Dark Neutron getting in the smoke there. No leader of Yukipor in the zone here in Echo, but 5 times 40, 200. Yeah, I mean, they need
if they can hold it here, they will get to a draw. If Dark Neutron can hold up to +2, but Nona's already hitting him there, and the BTR-80 K is really close by, so as soon as this M1A1 there gets pushed out, and it gets pushed out not directly by being destroyed, but by being routed there for a second, actually cleans itself from the route, recovering just enough morale it seems, but being so low on hit points, just being barely out of the radius of the artillery right now. But tanks coming forward, it needs to disengage, BTR-80 BK already coming up. There is still 2 M1A1s, 3 M1A1s actually behind that, so the BTR-80K needs to be careful. It needs to immediately smoke off once it gets into the zone. Tries to disengage away from all of this. Gets shot, gets killed. M151 Mutt gets killed off on the other side though, by the BMP3 and the Conquerors. It's only a +1 for Dark Neutron. That is not good enough. Dark Neutron needs to get back in there for the draw. Pushes in the south as well. Yukipor actually overextending heavily in the south. Is Yukipor throwing it away here in the last couple of minutes? There were 3 super strong position T-80BVKs. Now there's one running away with half hit points. The rest all died here trying to get into X-Ray. Yukipor playing so defensive the whole game. It worked out so well, but now potentially overextending. Gets the M1A1 CV routed. That is so unfortunate for Dark Neutron there, that kind of crit happened, as the M1A1 is just running away right now. It's not getting any ticks, and every second going by here is really, really critical. Dark Neutron with a track broken now on the CV Abrams in the south as well. Oh, that's all really unfortunate, as there's nothing here to stop that Abrams. There's a T-80BV coming up though, and another one in the center, so yeah, these couple of seconds here with the track broken, this is one of the most unfortunate crits that Dark Neutron could have gotten here.
Yeah, and Yukipor was deploying infantry 1,000 meters from the tank line here in the middle. Yukipor desperately trying to hold out the last, taking risks here, and down south, that just didn't work. The risks didn't work. The opening here in the middle, where the Humvees, the infantry, the quick fix helicopter are going in to try to support this wounded Abrams commander that is trying to challenge this full health but zero veterancy T-80BV on the open ground here. Just the last tanks, the zero tanks.
Oh, it goes down. The CV around X-Ray goes down. It didn't make it into the zone for Dark Neutron. Should have smoked off there instead, getting shot by the T-80BV of Yukipor. Hammett had a resupply of smoke. It could have smoke crept forward there even a bit. Smoke has a cooldown timer by now, so it can't just constantly spam smoke, but it could have gotten just enough out of the smoke to get in there, I believe. Instead, it went down. That means no CV there for Dark Neutron to get X-Ray, and the CV Abrams in the south gets pushed back as well. The MUD CP moving in, but the T-80BV is still alive. It is just...
The autoloader is reloading the gun despite
it gets the kill. It gets the kill. The MUD not getting off the road in time. A mistake there by Dark Neutron, and it's not a really impressive victory here. It's not a clean victory here by Yukipor, but if the M1A1 CV can be stopped here, and the T-80BV is working their hardest to stop it, and yeah, there it goes. It will be a victory for Yukipor here. Only 40 points per minute.
It's the damn autoloaders. It's the damn autoloaders.
Yeah, no CVs here around anymore for Dark Neutron. And yeah, it's a soul-crushing defeat here in game number 1 for Dark Neutron. But Yukipor with a really, really dirty victory here in the end. It looked way cleaner for a long time. It got dirty there by a couple of overextension. TDBBK gets Echo though, gets killed off by the M1A1, but it gets the point back, stops the take, and Dark Neutron taps out. What a wild game here. What a wild rodeo. And yeah, leaving Yuki-Por with a lifeline towards the playoffs in this game number 1 victory. And Dark Neutron really needs that game number 2 now.
Yeah, that was that was such a Dark Neutron just constantly just building and building and building, waiting for the critical mass of tanks before they can push. And when the push happened, the push could have gone just a slight bit further, and because it didn't, because it didn't. The Soviets were allowed a situation or like numerous minutes to build up a close defense formation where they basically didn't have anything. So Dark Neutron had the right call about the attack, and then Frank maybe it got spooked. Maybe was afraid of these fast firing disposable AT launchers that the 27th Infantry has, side-shotting them, just constantly always waiting for the next units, the slow tracked Bradley deployed infantry, just something more, never just fully going for it when it could have mattered.
Yeah, interesting game here. BMP3s, Akatsias, just barely holding it. You Dark Neutron there with the better KD in the end, but it didn't matter. Yuki-Por was able to get that victory out, and yeah, it all comes down to Dark Neutron not recapping that point. Otherwise, he could have maybe forced the issue there a bit better, but leaving the point a bit too long uncaptured, like nearly 10 minutes for Yuki-Por there, just taking on a +1 with that one. And that was just too long here. Dark Neutron not with enough points, not with enough time there in the end to get that working. And well played here by Yuki-Por, though that ending way closer than it needed to be. And yeah, leaves us excited for game number 2, as these two seem to have each other's number. So let's see who gets it in map 2. So here we return. Match number 2 between Yuki-Por and Dark Neutron. Yuki-Por still needing this W, but so does Dark Neutron now. Both need this to keep their chances alive of advancing. And this makes it a really, really intense matchup. And it's a really strong matchup as well. Two divisions that we have seen a lot of here. NATO versus NATO. the best of the West Germans here with 2nd Panzer Grenadier versus the all-rounder, the 8th US Infantry here on the side of Yukipor. And if you want to support these two players, consider coming over to the matcherino page. We are having one code to be claimed out of 50. 49 of you already doing an amazing job there, clicking that claim code button, adding us 25 cents to the prize pool. Also, big thanks to Casper Mark here for another $10, getting us really close to the 200 and the next stretch goal. And yeah, one more code to be claimed. Who will be the last one there supporting the tournament there, basically creating money out of nowhere for players in the community. And yep, check that out. We gonna have prize pool for these players here potentially, but if they want to get there, they need to win this game here now. And which of the divisions do you think has the advantage here on Vertigo?
So currently, I think what we're seeing here is that we're seeing two pretty standard, almost like ladder, 1v1 ladder openers here. Fallschirmparler Milan plus Fallschirmjägers from the west side here on the West Germans. And with the Americans, we're seeing a double Cobra opener with a bunch of recon and efficient engineers and engineer dragons units. I would bet that these Cobras are also followed up by even dual fighters, even though the fighters on the 8th are weaker than the fighters on the 2nd Panzer Grenadier. On the late game, generally, I would say that the 8th Infantry is the heavier division. It has the more expensive units, but the 2nd Panzer Grenadier compensates for this with this excellent forward deployment opener, especially the Fallschirmparler Milan 2s, which are basically consisting all of the opener here that we can't see in the air units.
Oh my goodness!
Oh boy.
Yeah, wow. I was wondering where the rest of the points were here, because it's not that many units on the ground here for Dark Newton. It's only the forward deployed, and then it's a Gepard. But it's double F-16, but on the other side it's triple F-16 for Yukipor as well. It's absolute madness in the skies here.
It's a bad engagement. The Tornado wasn't out there engaging, so all the F-16s or the American F-16s could fire all their long-range missiles before the Tornado couldn't counter them. So the reason why this was done is that the West German don't have forward deploying anti-air, and they don't have good man pads that can quickly drive up the front. And Cobra's rocket helis are the standard counter to forward deployment infantry. And these forward deployment infantry are deploying pretty far back now, negating their expensive forward deployment advantage, not wanting to sacrifice them for nothing for the Cobras. Yukipor also getting very good recon positions here, which will guide the deployment of these of the rest of these units, these engineers here. So this was a absolute victory for Yukipor. The standard counter to the standard opener was followed up by a massive investment on air on both sides. So this really is just a standard ladder aggro tactics being played by extremely high level players.
Yeah, adjusting it both sides, like the one step above the double two fighters being the idea by Dark Newton here, going into two cheap fighters and a good fighter, but that being outplayed by Yukipor, going even one step further, going for 3 good fighters, and that was what got him the W there in the air war, losing only 1 F-16, so killing the 2, being cheaper but still worth more than Belgian F-16s there, and especially getting the Cobras through and pushing the Fallschirmjägers away, killing off a good couple of them now on the ground. One of the Cobras is going down by now, but scouts and mech rifles actually being able to push here towards Alpha now, and both sides here now with still really few forces on the ground, and it's a lot of maneuvering that can still happen here. We have a Leo 283 leader, actually. That's a pretty risky investment as well.
Yeah. I would like to note that the Belgian F-16As were actually brought in as veterans, and this gives them a bunch of good stats, including a strong evasion, which will add into the ECM stat, or actually fortifies the ECM stat in other ways. But yeah, but that means that losing these F-16As, even though they are cheap and affordable fast fighters, they can't be replaced. Those lost fighters were had way less availability than whatever Yukipor has here. So I'm counting there's going to be a single Tornado that wasn't bought and in the opener when it comes to air supremacy fighters for Dark Neutron.
Yeah, we see Harrier now trying to come around for Dark Neutron here as the infantry of Yukipor is pushing forward. Tornado with the first good missile. Can find the second one as well. Gets the kill onto an F-16 here. Important kill, but at the same time, F-111 LGB already having the name of this Leo 2A3 on it. That is not smoking off. It will be hit by the F-111. Harriers coming in with good bombing runs, but... Oh, what? It survives! Is that the shitty... Aha, yeah, right, it's the 8th US LGBF. Okay, yeah, it actually doesn't always one-hit kill. I confused that with the other F-111 LGB bomber. And, yeah, getting out alive there with 3 hit points. Okay, important for Dark Neutron. Needs to keep it alive as Engineered Dragons are trying to kill it off further. Getting one more hit point out of it. But Jaeger's on the way and the Leo by now nearly out of range here.
Yeah, so the LGB2 is the really good one. The LGB1 is the lackluster one. The LGB2, I believe, is only in the strongest infantry opener division in the game, Terror Commander Sud.
Yeah, Engineered Dragons here coming in with the bombing run, getting a good kill, but the F-111 coming around one more time, and the Leo still not smoking off. Or smoked off for the first one, but too late, and doesn't have smoke this time around. Gets killed off here. Harrier trying to get the kill together with the Gepard, but they don't quite get there, so the F-111 will make it out alive. CH supply helicopter will only land next to a wreckage here, as the Leo has been taken out, and that's pretty painful. It's obviously a big investment by Yukipor as well here, but Yukipor coming up with an F-16, killing off a Harrier. Dark Neutron not getting the traits that they need here right now.
Yeah, Dark Neutron is keeping this stable by holding the north, and the north is being held only by the forward deployment advantage. No other investments have been made out there. This is because this is obviously a Yukipor favorite situation. Yukipor has the central citadel fortified with GSR infantry, good dragon infantry, as well as ITOs. Dark Neutron has the, Yukipor has the forest line here, so they can reinforce right into the enemy position here on Alpha. The Abrams drove there pretty straightforwardly with no problem. A rare choice of a regular M1 Abrams, not the A1 variant or even the IP variant here. This Abrams has the good guns and the good speed and the good accuracy, but it only has a older generation cannon, 17 penetration, and a 16 front armor. In this case, for 220 points, it is kind of the budget tank, but that means that there are more of these and they can be brought out early. This tempo advantage here and having these kind of discount tanks that can easily fight against the Leopard 2s on defense is a good but interesting choice, possibly good choice.
Yeah, LGB's also now cleaning up house completely, killing a million two, killing the Gepard there actually, as a single Gepard on its own can't kill off the high-flying F-111s there. And yeah, we see the whole dismantling here now. Yukipor just coming in for the kill, bringing the air train with it, and the Leo 2A3 loss in the south really was too much, allowing the infantry here now to push through. The Harrier HE not really staying in good spaces either, as an F-16 coming around now could ruin their day again, and the one in the south earlier was just kept around a bit too long, and Dark Neutron not with the most perfect micro here so far this game, and this really fires back here right now. Harrier HE tries to find a hit, but doesn't find any targets, and we have a Leo 2A3 that killed the M1A1 at least, or the M1 rather, that we just pointed out, but the Harrier goes down one shot here to the Eyehawk by now as well, and that's a problem.
Yeah, so the difference between a Leopard 2A3 and an M1 Abrams is that one of them gets three more penetration, and it costs 15 points more. So I do think that the M1 is overpriced compared to the Leopard 2A3, but the numerical advantage that you can have of taking the M1 card is a good choice, because on defense, those Leopard 2s are going to have to get in close and that's where their armor, lacking armor, will reveal itself.
The M1 actually is not really overpriced, as it also has one more side armor, and it has better accuracy, and it has a 50 cal. But yeah, in a direct fight, the Leo 2A3 will win, because of those front armor stats and the better gun. But there are situations where the M1 does perform better. Side shot doesn't kill it when it gets hit by a 20 penetration round or ATGM, like a Conqueror's one-shots the Leo 2A3 with a side shot. It doesn't one-shot an M1 Abrams. So
yeah, so I would I want to really get my point and say I believe when it comes to tank v tank combat, the M1 is overpriced compared to the Leopard 2.
Yeah, the Leo is the more efficient in the direct fight, but
yeah.
there are enough other units here, like the Aito, which exactly has those 20 pens, which can side shot, that it could come around. At the same time, though, the really big issue here right now for Dark Neutron is that things just die in the sky nonstop. The gap wards get shot down, so there's still nothing stopping the Sky Train on the right side, whilst the Sky Train that Dark Neutron tried to get online has been completely shut down here. Planes dying one after another. The push here in the south is cute and all, but there's enough units here to stop it. The Leo 2A3 leader barely alive, and we have two F-111 LGBs coming around again, with bombs having the name of the Leo on top of it, and they will hit, they will kill. F-111 going through, trying to hunt down the Ihawk, will find the bombing hit there as well. Ihawk goes down. Next one goes for the helicopter, I believe, finds that as well. And the LGBs even will get out alive. So, devastating hits here again. Dark Neutron obviously doesn't want to tap out because tournament life on the line, but this is a situation where most players actually might have tapped out right there.
Yeah, it's the opener air micro engaging 2v3 with the worst F-16s and not having your tornado out there to get those early hits in against the very early micro in the air fight was where Yukipo started getting this advantage. That is what allowed the Cobras to actually still be around. That's what's allowed the LGB gameplay here, and that's what allowed the countering of these Harriers, which could have probably gotten key kills if they hadn't been shot down so efficiently.
Yeah, M1 Abrams now pushing forward in the south, getting through there. Unimog getting killed, Engineered Dragon killing off the Fallschirmjäger, Cobra doing a good job there as well. We see Diggerfaust and Fallschirmjäger, they're under fire. Fallschirmjäger is trying to disengage. LRS moving around as well. Engineered Dragons pushing up. Gephardt and co desperately trying to hold the Leo 1A1, trying to come around as a cheap tank, but that is just outclassed completely by the M1. The M1 not having the best gun maybe, but outside of that it's a complete modern MBT here, and the Leo 1A1 is just no modern fire control system, a relatively bad gun, terrible frontal protection in comparison to other MBTs, and all of that leaves it completely lackluster if it has to go frontal into any of the Abrams. Ihawks being hunted down by Engineered Dragon now as well, and yes,
a rare Engineered Dragon versus Ihawk engagement.
Yeah, we have Dark Neutron still somehow holding the northern points, but even those are under assault now, and pivoting up there will be tough, and without the airplay, I'm not quite sure what the win condition could be here now. Like for Dark Neutron, what else can bring you around here at this stage? There is no setup for artillery play, no artillery around yet, and also no big amounts of supply here with FSP or Felt Depot on the battlefield. Ihawk trying to move around here, running into a Tow Cobra, and the LRS might be able to deal with the Tow Cobra, but the LRS here actually the bigger problem in these kind of engagements. Ihawk trying to get the shot off, gets the Tow Cobra blown out of the sky. Meanwhile, though, Milan 2's there, getting pushed out, and that should allow a CV to go up there. LGB's coming around once more, and the LRS actually hunting down the two completely unprotected Ihawks here now.
Yeah, I think the this would require a significant overextension from Yukipo's side, maybe losing these M1 Abrams tanks all to the PA helicopters, and then at the same time also losing in the LGB bombers at the very least in some kind of an engagement, some kind of a bad engagement here, and neither of those seem to be happening right now. The Delta and in practice Charlie also will likely be in Yukipo's territory in just a moment.
Yeah, both iHawks going down, Pioneer Armbrust trying to get in there, but we have an LGB, we have an F-16 in the sky. Leo 2A3 and Leo 1A1 trying to rotate around, but there's still a mech rifle even on Foxtrot. If there's ever a CV around again to push with the M1A1 to get that point that can do the job. In the meantime, Mat CV just barely stopping at the wrong spot there, going into a tree line just quite out, a bit out of top of the zone, but Yukipo realizing that now, getting it in there, getting the tick up here, and two Tokobras coming around again. We have two Fliegerfaust actually on the other side, so if they are lucky here, they actually might be able to get the better out of this engagement, but they need to be quite fortunate. They miss with one of their first shots. One of them does hit though. Yukipo currently moving the Cobras in the wrong spot a bit to deal with the Fliegerfaust directly, but Fliegerfaust kill off the CV in the north. Mat and the Cobras and the Mat could now move in there, just capture that as well, and then we have the +4 situation. We have a potential +8 situation if Yukipo actually wants to push for it, and the complete sky dominance as well.
Yeah, and in a couple of seconds, this will be in a couple of minutes. This the feeding of these Chaparrals, the feeding of these Itos and M1 Abrams into these positions that Yukipo is already holding very solidly. It just kind of shows that the American potential to snowball with these good units is so very high. Much like First UK, the eighth. The second Panzer Grenadier does not have the fundamentals to challenge the Americans. They would have needed something in the opener. And a lot of people get angry about air engagements, myself included. And I've thought a lot about that. And I think the reason why the air engagements and feel like somehow they feel like cheese. They feel like they're somehow unfair. And I think the reason is that not just the RNG, not just the dice rolling, but the fact that with very few commands and couple of seconds of gameplay, the board can change completely in the opener. Just mismicroing one air supremacy fighter, not having it turn at the right point, not telling it to turn early enough, in just a couple of seconds, your opponent may be reliably getting into a snowball, air snowball situation, and that's kind of what we saw in the opener from the air supremacy fighters duking it out. I think even though this is the way the game is designed, and obviously risking these early air engagements is risky, but a lot of people will feel it unfair and not necessarily be able to vocalize why it feels unfair to be air rushed in that way.
Yeah, we will see a bit of changes with that in the next patch, as air-to-air missiles will get more accurate. 5% for all fire and forget, and range stacking for the radar missiles, which will reduce the RNG by a good bit. That obviously will make them even more deadly, so they can snowball even harder if you're outnumbered and or outclassed, either way. If the quality of the enemy plane is higher, the chances are that it will destroy you are higher then as well. But as we have it right now here, the air engagement in the early game was also just badly taken by Dark Neutron. Like, Yukipo it wasn't really down to RNG, it wasn't unfair at all. It was just Yukipo being prepared for the engagement with 3 F-16s, which are the superior fighters there, the American F-16s, compared to the F-16s that that Dark Neutron has. And then the Tornado also came in a bit too late, so all of that combined leading to a way better engagement for Yukipo, and that was just well deserved as well.
Yeah, now it's the perfect follow-up with using the helicopters to engage the Fallschirmjägers, perfectly predicting or maybe just recognizing the dark neutral strategy on the map here, and positioning the buying the itos at the right time that they get to engage the enemy leopards. They're buying the A1 Abrams in such a way that it's on the position before any leopards can manage to be there, making sure that there is not going to be a dark neutron tank attacking a non-tank equipped front line. Just the Yukipor just making excellent decisions here, one after the other, and it's easy to make good decisions, of course, when you win the opener. So when you win the opener. And I would also like to remind, as somebody who has maybe bought three ASF openers in their time, that's not a guaranteed victory. Like if Dark Neutron had played something else than the forward deployment opener that they did, that investment into the planes could have just gone completely wayside.
Yeah, and it's something we have seen a couple of times lately, that both of the punishment against forward deploy opener and also people not doing that forward deploy opener, even with divisions that have it, like first UK or second Fallschirmjägers, second Panzergrenadier with the Fallschirmjägers, and then playing a bit more standard and then catching the enemy off guard with that. Coming in, for example, with a Marder push, which we haven't seen here at all. No Marder, no Fuchs Milans at all on this battlefield this time around. It was the really standard, the most basic setup with Leos and Fallschirmjägers here, and it didn't work out at all. And we are on the way here now to potentially see a +8 situation in a second here, as Yukipor is pushing the final point here. And there's just no hope left here for Dark Newton in this game, and Dark Newton sees it the same way right that second as well. Tapping out, and yeah, nearly a 3-1 KD here. Unfortunate start, and then Yukipor just relentless there. It's not really the Dark Neutron playing bad. I think Dark Neutron did a lot of okay steps afterwards. Not perfect steps, obviously, otherwise the situation wouldn't have completely spiraled out of control, but like did some steps to try to stabilize, but Yukipor just never giving the breathing room there. The LGB bomber coming in nicely. The follow-up with the Cobras and so on, all really well done. And Yukipor really with the victory needed, and with that also in a good spot now here in Division 1.
Yeah.
To get it out behind both decks.
You mentioned the push. I believe it was Mandos early in the league actually who did some really big all-in mech pushes with second Panzer Grenadier, just completely letting the forward deployment advantage to the wayside, not even taking the Fallschirmjägers, I believe, and then building a large group of effective and low-price armored vehicles protected by a bunch of Gepards, and then driving them down in the southern position where you have 4 zones to just completely bypass the enemy's for anti-forward deployment opener. But that's not something that we saw here. Being too predictable is deadly in Warno, and I recommend if you yourself are getting rushed by people in forward deployment, I recommend you get a bunch of recon units, recon infantry, and get a bunch of helicopters and see how that works out for you.
Yeah, and it is now Yukipor making it off to the finals in this group, as Dark Neutron helping out Yukipor there by having one draw in the loss against with Bottom Feeder or Gar X Arms, as that means that both have 2 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, but the victory of Garda was only a 3-1 win instead of a 4-0 win as for Yukipor, so Yukipor just barely making it into the playoff stage. Not the way that Yukipor was expected to go there, as they were the absolute favorite in this group, but making it through both decks with the surprise W here. 2 victories and a draw against Dark Neutron, making it off into the playoffs as first in this group. And we're gonna now try to figure out who is their opponent for each of these two, as we're gonna go into Group A, where we have Icarus and Team in Place. Both of these players are safe to make it through as well. But the question is, who will make it through as first and who will make it through as second. So let's check it out. T1 Plays versus Icarus coming up after a short break, guys. So here we go, everybody. Icarus versus Team in Place. Two of the biggest content creators of the community against each other. Two of the best players of North America against each other. And also the fight for first place in this group. And a bit of a twist, because Icarus has it a bit easier here actually, with 2 wins so far. But Team in Place has 1 win in a draw. So Team in Place needs to win this series, or Icarus will be first place. Winner plays against Yukipor. Loser plays against Burfax. So actually getting second place in the group might be the easier one as well. So it's all a bit complicated. But the matchup is not. The matchup is really simple. 2 divisions that we have seen many times here on Vertigo before. We have Team in Place playing basic stuff, which is surprising for him, but he loves the big boy divisions. We see 3rd US for him here, not the 119th, a bit sad about that. And Icarus, TKS being banned, so he switches to the other AMX 10 division, being 5th Clint A here. And what do you think about the 3rd US pick here?
So 3rd US pick here, I believe it's very T-man. First of all, it's a meta div because you get the engineered dragons, which are broken right now. So having these cheap units hold your flank all around the map is just it's just a powerful asset that you have. The ability to keep on replacing the Abrams as long as the game goes on, an ability to trade your tanks out and then recover later in the game. T-Man always bounces back. That's his thing. T-Man doesn't necessarily do the best openers, but his decision making is so calm and collected and methodical that having these slower divisions and these very positioning heavy divisions with the expensive Bradleys and with the expensive tanks, I just T-Man also is very good at smelling blood in the water. T-Man knows and generally makes the right decision when it comes to pushing. We saw in the last the game before last one that 3rd US was played very carefully, and we'll be interested to see if this is the same problem keeps going on. We don't know if T-Man plays is possibly. We don't know if it's possible for him to get tilted. We don't know if it's possible for him to get too excited and start making bad decisions. But on the other side, Icarus, who is a kind of certified aggro pro, basically doing kind of a recon rush with Dragon Para Special Forces up at the front, Surblinders behind them, and with some VAB Mephistos and Mistrals, both expensive and good French missiles right behind them. So this seems to be kind of a I really don't. I really do think that here, if Icarus can get some good kills in the opener, there is so much good stuff on board that perfectly microed. They can outplay T-Man, but they can't directly engage T-Man's 2 tank, 1 Chaparral, 2 Bradley front line. They just can't do that. But any kind of other engagement, Icarus will have a pretty good position. Though on the other hand, the Engineer's Dragon do penetrate the AMX-10 RCs easily, and the Engineer Dragons are in buildings, which basically gives them the Harry Potter invisibility cloak.
The Dragon Paras here pushing really far forward, trying to get an Ito killed off quite early on here. Engineered Dragons coming around. The MX-10s obviously need to be super careful of taking the engagement there any further, and might want to disengage soon here as the M1A1 comes up together with the Bradleys. MX-10 in the middle finds a scout already. Ito goes down as well, but the MX-10s need to find the right moment to disengage. Mephisto up north can be really scary as well, fast with the strong Hot 2 missile. But yeah, MX-10 is not finding the right moment to pull out, and both of them get hit here by the M1A1s. Big mistake here, in my eyes, by Icarus, and taking a bit too many risks there. But the Mephistos could maybe repay him there. Get hit against one M1A1. Try to find the second one as well. It does smoke off just in time there. And the M1A1 finds the kill into the first Mephisto as well. Icarus with a bit of an overextension there.
Yeah, so the Bradleys, the A2 Bradleys, the heavily armored Bradleys, are, I believe they can survive a hit from most of the French missiles. The Cobras right behind here, right outside of the Mistral's range, engagement range, making so that giving the infantry of T-Man just amazing fire superiority, but not risking them as far as to get hit by the Mistrals. And Icarus already buying Grenadier Voltigeurs, Brennus, Milan 2, and Gazelle Hots to plug the gap here. This engagement went really badly for Icarus. So recon units, you're paying a premium for the recon. AMX-10 RCs are 120 points. The recon rushing is inherently inefficient because of the you're paying extra for recon. So if you lose them like this, that's extra big of a problem.
Yeah, they got a couple of kills there, and if the Mephistos would have found at least one kill on one of the M1A1s, I would say it would have been kind of okay. But both Abrams surviving there, Cobra surviving, is really an issue, as there's nothing left here for Icarus right now, and T-Man, as soon as the supply trucks here catch up, and they're already closing in onto the situation, can just keep on rolling, and it will be tough for Icarus here to hold the line, as there are only 2 Gazelle Hots and a couple of Grenadier Voltigeurs here right now around to stop this, and the fire team's already pushing in, the Bradley's right behind that, Mistral's both cleaned out, meaning that the Cobras can come around quite efficiently in a second as well. And yeah, Icarus has the south, but keeping control over the north, not gonna be easy here.
Yeah, I would like to point out that T-Man is bringing out the Bradleys and their fire teams at 0 vet. This means that there is an incredible amount of depth in the amount of IFVs and TOW2 missiles that T-Man can bring out, as well as just regular kind of dragons and other weapons that can easily penetrate all the French armor. So this is this battle group that T-Man has here has actually a lot of potential to face down all kinds of French French forces 1-to-1. So now T-Man needs to overextend, lose an Abrams, get a couple of bad hits, side shots by the Brennus or Milan 2, or even the Apilus. Something like that for the pace of the game to go back for Icarus. Icarus buying out 3 mortars, actually, likely for smoking capacity. You think the Icarus is going to try to do a counterattack, try to negate the T-Man plays' advantage on long range and with the ATGMs by just doing like an early infantry counter push with Apilus infantry and mortars.
Yeah, it seems to be what Icarus at least will try to hold the point, potentially try to push forward with. The MX-30s there, they can't take direct fights with any of the Abrams, no matter on which range. So they need to be careful. They can kill off Bradleys quite easily, and if they can find infantry with the autocannon they have next to their main gun, can deal good damage there as well. But the Fireteam Dragons here, finding them first, dealing good damage there as well. The frontal armor of the MX-30 really lackluster, so they get pushed back there once more. And we have M1A1s and engineers pushing forward. The Apilas really the only hope, and the smoke mortar still a good bit off. Mirage 200 in the sky against F-15 is a risky one as well. F-15, the way superior fighter. Mirage 200, not the most modern fighter in 1989. It's one generation older, and it is fast, but its missiles are not the best, and it lacks the ECM that the F-15 has as well. So the F-15, with its top-end missiles, top-end ECM, top-end speed, can win the fight there relatively easily.
Yeah, the Cobras are getting shot by the Rolands here, but the Cobras getting to fire basically all of their rockets out, cleaning the infantry and pushing back the armor on the forest line. Only a Milan 2 remains and will likely be taken out by all of this American firepower here. Okay, so the Cobra is firing at the. Yeah,
Cobra.
This is bad for Icarus. T-Man immediately recognized the trading situation and just took the ground very methodically. very cleanly, very balanced. 2 Bradleys, 2 tanks, 2 Cobras. Like this is the composition of T-Man's forces is just much like the man himself, extremely well thought out and kind of plain.
Yeah, really methodical playstyle here. Engineered dragons pushing forward, coming through the forest. And yes, it's only the equalizer. Yes, Icarus has 500 points thanks to having the points in the south captured, but they are not super heavily fortified. And Icarus will need to fight hard to keep the north under control. And there are multiple ways here now out of this for Team and Place to get points. Either just investing into the way superior heavy tanks of the 3rd US and then trying to find a way for them to just roll towards Charlie by eliminating the Milan 2s with your other assets. Or by forcing Icarus to keep investing in the north but setting up a big enough force to take one of the southern zones or both of the southern zones at some point as well. The trades have been so far in Team favors that Icarus will be really hard pressed to keep the defense up. It's not impossible. We have seen it a couple of times before that a 500 points advantage like that can be kept through the end even after some bad beginning trades, but you need to get at least a couple of W's here, and so far we haven't seen any.
Yeah, Icarus is doing the best that they can do. They can in this situation, sneaking up Mistrals to the side to take out the Cobras, having the infantry up here in the front, and having the fire support safely in the back line, firing at max range at the American units. But this engagement angle is just so bad. This is a very difficult angle to push. You like a lot of rushes on this map, a lot of all-in openers on this map work exactly like this, that they try to push from the top right to Bravo, because now we're seeing these smokes being pushed out to somehow buy some time or some advantage for Icarus. But yeah, once you get driven out of that zone, if you get driven out of that zone by a heavy division like 3rd US, that's a really bad situation. That is one of the most difficult situations 10 minutes in that you can have in this game. And considering this versus T-Man plays, it might be the most difficult situation.
Yeah, well, at least he has a point advantage, so it's not completely hopeless. But yeah, it is not going to be easy. He has the smoke play here right now up to try to get the infantry in, and the French infantry outclasses the American one in CQC in this division matchup, as Engineered Dragons are the only full hit point squad that you get as 3rd US, so they are the only ones, and they only have M16s, they don't have any MGs, plus you don't have any AT launchers on a lot of them, or if you have them, it's a lot of loss, and on the other side you have the Apilas, you have the LRAC, both really strong launchers, so vehicles of Team and Place have to be careful getting anywhere close of the infantry, so the smoke play here is a way to victory, but it's a pretty tough one to keep up long term, as counter battery with artillery, killing the mortars or firing into the smoke could deal the damage. The M109's currently aiming up onto the Roland, so yeah, bombing could do it as well. And you need to keep that smoke screen constant, as soon as there are gaps in it and the smoke doesn't hold forever, your infantry will get shot up by Bradleys and M1s quite badly.
Yeah, the mortars do have 80 shots per, so it's gonna take some time, and they're gonna be cheaply resupplied also. So the smoke is here to stay for a certain moment, but the 3rd US does have good weapons against stacked infantry as long as the mechanized units are controlled well enough. There are no ATGMs on the French side, and as we can see that this engagement angle with T-Man Engineered Dragons taking out this southern position of Milan means that the Icarus can't even follow these units with the Brennuses. They can't even have the tank support that the French can provide. The infantry is pushing under the cover of the smokes, but the Bradleys and Abrams have just taken safe distance and waiting for the French to come to them. And at this point, the infantry is so far away that T-Man's Cobras can safely engage them right the moment that they can be spotted. So T-Man seems to just kind of not wanting to challenge the French on the terms of the French, and just waiting for a better engagement, waiting for the smokes to come out, waiting to be able to spot one or two of them, maybe even waiting for an aircraft to support this.
Well, he also...
There are ways to get rid of mass infantry.
Way more importantly for T-Man, he also brings units in the south at the same time, but Icarus needs every resource he has right now to support the northern push here. And has not much left here to defend itself. T-Man gives up a bit of ground. P4 might even make it in there, but at the same time, T-Man is assaulting Delta. And if they can get into Delta, T-Man can also get easily into Charlie afterwards with the units. And that would mean that even if Icarus gets the point back in the north, it wouldn't be a tick anymore. Anyways, as soon as Delta falls, and if Charlie falls, it would still be a tick for T-Man. So this really expensive smoke play when it comes to both attention, like it takes a lot of APM, it takes a lot of micro to keep the infantry always in the right spot, and also in resources, because you need all these infantry units, you need your tanks to follow it up, you need your smoke mortars and keep them constantly supplied. All of that is taking away from the south. And yeah, now the Grenadier Voltigeurs there, for example, in a small gap, getting lit up there. The smoke clears out and Grenadier Voltigeurs are caught out in the open, and that's the problem. With the smoke not holding out for as long as it has a couple of patches ago, the smoke gameplay is a lot harder and not nearly as easy to abuse as it has been back in the day.
Yeah. I believe it used to be like 40 seconds, and it's now, 30-something seconds?
It was a minute, I think, at some point. It then got reduced to 40 seconds, and then I believe by now it's 30 or 20 seconds even. I'm not quite sure if there's a difference between smoke and tank mortars. I believe it's 20 seconds for tanks. It might be the same for smoke. Yeah, so that is the big difference. But yeah, the French push here with the AMX-30s not working out. The Bradleys on the other side here, together with the M1A1s, doing a fantastic job. And yeah, T-Man plays on a good way here to get this game under control. Icarus gets the point back, actually. Gets back on the tick. So 600 points advantage now. But it will be even harder now to defend that.
Yeah, currently 2 of the 4 tanks of Icarus, the Brenuses, are 2 of the 5 tanks actually are combat ineffective. They're on low health. They've been trying to forcefully engage the T-Man's kind of citadel with the Engineer Dragons and Ito here. Engineer Dragons doing amazing work against the French tanks, absolutely punching above the weight of a 40-point infantry squad. And meanwhile, the last infantry in the zone has been whittled down now. T-Man sending rest of the mechanized force as well as some engineers to mop up and capture back the point. Despite getting to the point with the smokes, Icarus never being able to take out the key units of T-Man, such as the Abrams, never able to, I don't know if this would have even been reasonable, but theoretically they could have had the AMX-30s charge through the smoke and try to get in touching distance of the Abramses, and thus and to compensate for their own less tech tanks. But this didn't happen. T-Man was able to methodically move the units and not really lose any units that it wasn't planned on losing. The zero-vet engineers that T-Man sent both up top and down south are 40-point infantry squads, 10 men, and if they're close enough, they will trade up against more expensive infantry squads because they have satchel charges.
Really good engagements here with the AMX-30s by Icarus, taking out a good couple of infantry units here, and taking out some Bradleys now as well. The AMX-30 play here by Icarus, really, really solid. And the tick is still on. It's still 800 points, and Icarus actually gets the time to reinforce the south. T-Man not pulling the trigger. There has a CV unit there, but didn't quite come in with enough units to get it quickly. And that's always a mistake. Like, if you start to pivot on a map, you should pivot with a bit more force so that you actually can take it and not just alarm the enemy. And that's what kind of happened. And Icarus here with the super quick reaction with Super Pumas bringing in commandos. And now the south looks hard to capture again, and the north is still not cleared. So Icarus actually getting even more points here. And that starts to become an amount of point lead that might become more problematic with the time running low. It's still 22 minutes, so time is not low yet. But if that tick goes up to like 1,200 points, and then T-Man takes another 5-6 minutes to neutralize it, and then this whole situation might start to become problematic here for sure.
Yeah, Icarus managing to get themselves back to the site, getting some of the good kills, hurting the Bradleys, driving them off behind the smoke wall, and then reinforcing with more of the troops. But down south, I do think, I mean, T-Man has 2 A1 Abrams, an Apache, quick fix, 2 snipers, a chaparral, and any amount of infantry inside the Delta and Charlie zones will only have to spot the enemy. So all of this American tech can just start getting rid of those. And the commandos, if their units are on the same touching distance with the engineer satchel charges will give them an advantage, will help them punch above their weight. So I don't think there's I mean there are Roland 2s being brought to Delta, but T-Man is already driving the M1 Abrams in there, and it's getting a direct hit from a Milan 2, so not starting out that well, though one of the commandos is already been taken care of.
Yeah, the commandos being caught out outside of the building here by the engineers, which also get the satchel charges off against them, eliminating the commandos in a bad spot there. They should have stayed in the building next to them. And now the second one takes a 1 versus 2 fight. That's not ideal either, but the CV Abrams here actually going pretty low. Artillery might save the day though. Yeah, Milan 2 goes down before they can finish it off, and no other infantry here sneaking through to finish off the M1A. So T-Man at least reducing it to a +1, still hasn't retaken the north, as the AMX-30 is there with fantastic micro by Icarus. That's the first time that we really saw Icarus outplaying T-Man plays. Before, we saw some decent movement, but T-Man always found a decent answer. The smoke plus MX-30 in the north, the first time that Icarus really outplayed him, and with that also outtraded him there for a while. But now the M109 artillery howitzer, the Paladins coming in here, getting a kill onto a Roland 3A piece already, making it easier potentially for helicopters and aircraft to come around here for T-Man plays later on. And yeah, T-Man one step closer to figure out the puzzle here with having the CV in the south, but not having it fully taken. So Icarus will get over the 1,000 point lead here in a second.
Yeah, the Kangaroos are resupplying the tanks and keeping the French tanks. The potential of a tank blob is alive due to this resupply, and the French tank blob here, if it gets close and if like 3 tanks get to shoot at M1 Abrams at a close range, the Abrams is gonna go down. And those kind of, but on the other hand, there are also Apaches, there are concave formation dragons, ITOs, stingers on the sidelines, taking out enemy Hot 2 missiles earlier, the Gazelles. Like this is there are a lot of stuff here that can kill the AMX-30s. And any kind of wrong movement can have the French tanks just completely obliterated. So that is why it is it's impressive for Icarus to have them keep them alive even past 20 minutes.
Yeah, and it's now past the halfway point. Icarus is past the halfway point in tick rate as well. And if Icarus can fortify the south a bit better, then I think this game here starts to become really problematic for T-Man. The question is just, can Icarus get some reinforcements through here in the south? Otherwise, T-Man just needs to take that out to still get the win here with the time remaining. But if Icarus can fortify the south here for a couple more minutes, then the situation might start to become actually problematic here for T-Man.
Yeah, but though looking at the down south, we're seeing Icarus fortify with the Sappers and Grenadier Voltigeurs. I mean, AMX-30s are finally coming in after some time to down south. but T-Man is also reinforcing with 5 units of infantry, including engineers and fire team AT-4s. And the 2 Abrams are full health. They're supported by a sniper. They got stingers and chaparrals behind them. They even have a Hempt. So this infantry buys of Icarus. I'm afraid that the 3 machine guns and the good guns in the Abrams will just be able to drive back and keep the French infantry in their sights, while the fire teams, with their numerous machine guns and their good AT-4 weapons, will be out there fighting before the French tanks are in the scene.
Yeah, meanwhile, we have a big tank fight in the north. It's actually, point-wise, a somewhat close one, but Icarus does lose it in the end. And with that, also T-Man gets back into the zone. One M1A1 gets down. We see some Bradleys dying as well, but 3 AMX-30s do fall. So, yes, 2 AMX-30s for 1 M1A1 is an okay trade, but in the end, still slightly worse for Icarus. And Icarus obviously has less on the battlefield in general, so a good trade there could have been quite helpful to stabilize the situation. Instead of that, it's T-Man now getting through in the south before Icarus can get forces in there, getting that zone, and also getting the zone in the north now under control, and that's a +3, and the +3 is too much here with 60 minutes remaining. That's too many points here. That will even be just barely enough to get to 2,000 points here for T-Man plays, and that's something that Icarus can't allow to happen, so Icarus needs to counterattack somewhere. The question is just where to counterattack at this point.
Yeah, AMX-30s engaging the Abrams down south, both of them getting hits in. One of the AMX-30s is down to 2 health. But meanwhile, Timo's artillery has been firing at the buildings in which the French would likely have Milans or Milan 2s. And we haven't seen Milan 2s in some time here. But of course, the artillery fire is just one more example of pressure being applied to Icarus, and micro unit damage, unit capacity slightly being whittled down, while T-Man's Abrams are just always gonna keep being around.
Yeah, and we see a GG being called here as Icarus doesn't quite see the way of holding that anymore, and I tend to agree with that analysis of the situation. We saw both the smoke mortars getting killed off by counter battery in the north as well. No AA left there, and T-Man in the end with a 2-1 KD as well here. Icarus running out of units to really hold the line with, and T-Man with another methodical game here. Classic T-Man plays, getting the win here and making the last match in this game here the decider of who makes it out in first place out of the group stage, as whoever wins that will get that spot. A draw would still be enough, I believe, for Icarus. No, a draw would be enough for T-Man plays around now this time around in that match. So, gonna be exciting. A lot of importance on that second match, as that decides whom they will face in the playoffs. And yeah, Icarus, the early game, I think, just went a bit too badly there. Afterwards, some interesting plays, but they couldn't quite get back on track. And against T-Man plays, having an early game like that is just not something you can allow yourself.
Yeah, the recon rush into immediately losing the recon versus third armored, and third's weakest position is of course in the starter. Like that was just that was too much. Even a player of Icarus's caliber, even though they managed to keep the game going really well and managed to get a bunch of pretty nice engagements, if the third player manages to keep the expensive units alive, the expensive units will carry them just by the fact that without any extra micro, the Abrams will just kill everything. So Icarus needs to overcome the Abrams, and yeah, that just after the opener, that just wasn't happening, unfortunately, for Icarus. Icarus being the aggro king, being the airborne, the forward deployment, the infantry opener, big pusher, versus T-Man being the very careful, very methodical, very balanced player. And the two Abrams, two Bradley, and a bunch of AA, as well as the two helicopters, those just seem to all of those just had the answers to the French when the French opener advantage was taken away from them.
Yeah, with that said, let's get into that second match, as we will see if Icarus can find a better opener there and can secure that first spot after all, or if Timon is just too solid here in this matchup. And yeah, let's see what we will have there. So quick break, guys, then we're going to be back with map number 2. So here we return, everybody. Game number 2, Icarus versus Timon plays. And Timon plays up 1-0 in this matchup, but that is fine for Icarus so far. As with a win in this match, they still would get first place in the group stage, as they had the record going into this. But they need a W now, and they have 4th Motschützen coming up against 27th, packed on packed action this time around. And before we go in here, a quick shout out once more to Matcherino, where you can support the prize pool for these players. And we have hit the first stretch goal, $200. So 3rd and 4th place of the tournament will get part of the prize pool now as well. Thanks to Plötze here, coming up with $15, and Sepp coming in with another $3.50. And we have all 50 codes claimed as well. Big thank you for all of you. That also shows Matcherino that our community is active. Our community might be worth more supporting even more in the future, so that we can might maybe find some sponsorships there. So thanks to all of you for the support, and having this amazing of a community is really great, and might motivate also the players now to be a bit better in the upcoming games and in the upcoming weeks. And also, guys, if you want to support Chloride and you want to hear a bit more of Chloride talking even more analytical than he already does in the streams over here in the cast, check out his channel. It's in the chat so that you can get some more information there. And yeah, let's go. Let's see.
Yeah, sorry, Cat Demon on the chat. If you have no idea what's going on, so my channel is probably the good place for you to go then, because unlike a lot of players who are better than me, I do talk more than the people who are better than me, and I do actually explain a lot of the basic mechanics as I play generally.
So yeah, check out Chloe's channel, everybody. And also, if you have a Twitch Prime laying around and you don't know what to do it, don't leave that money to Amazon. Use it on Chloe's channel or use it over here. And if you have a bit too much money on your bank account, consider leaving it here as well, maybe. So enough of the sellout, guys. Let's go into the action, as we have a lot of hot actions ahead of us here. Icarus with fourth, coming in with a really standard all-aggression opener here. Fourth, having the Fallschirmjägers of the East German army here, the East German army coming in with a lot of forces and not that many tanks, and the tanks that they have are only T-55s. They have the up-leveled version, but we see only the base T-55 here, not the modernized version coming in here at the beginning. And on the other side, we have 27th, a division that you really enjoy, and Teeman seems to be enjoying as well. What do you think about that opener here against the aggressive opener of fourth?
Yeah, so on this map here, the northern zone Oscar is going easily to the forward deploying player, especially if the player is on the left. So T-Man is just deploying defensively with Metis against the Oscar town, and going full in on mechanized opener breakthrough at the southern zone of Zulu. These forward deployment infantry, even with the Metises, are very vulnerable to being killed by the BMP-3 guns. BMP-3s, of course, soft attack powerhouses. Soviet infantry, pretty all right. Not as good as East German infantry, of course, but good enough to hold the ground as the tanks do the killing. The heaviest weapons, heaviest armor penetrating weapons are the Fagot missiles on the East German side, and those things don't penetrate the ATs, and they're not the most efficient thing against the high-tech BMP-3s either. This is kind of a weird version of the earlier game, with once again lighter, older tech units from this time on the East German side going against the highest tech, most expensive units of T-Man. And T-Man obviously plays carefully, plays good positions, doesn't take too many risks. So this kind of gameplay style fits well. Whereas Icarus, being the more aggressive, more risk-taking player, will work to try to get some efficiency out of these older gen units.
Yeah, and Icarus securing the town in the north, but T-Man with a lot of forces here in the south, so Icarus will have to be careful to not be pushed out of Zulu anytime soon. It seems like T-Man has given up on trying to contest Oscar here, but might go for a push here soon in the south, so Icarus has to be careful to not over-push and overstate their welcome here in the south, as we have two BMP-3s, the highest quality IFV we have currently in the game, with the fantastic gun, the strong autocannon, the strong ATGM here already coming in, and the T-55s of Icarus keep on pushing forward here, not really understanding that the power balance in the south is in favor of Team and Place. This might be a big mistake by Icarus.
Yeah, I mean, losing those 80-point tanks isn't that big of a deal in the end, but especially if you can get some damage done. But unfortunately, the T-55s were completely caught out in the open. T-55s are as slow as Chieftains, which is 45 kph, I believe the slowest tanks out there. So those things getting a hit, losing their cohesion, losing their movement speed, just makes them, and losing their reload speed also, just getting those singular hits makes those T-55s kind of secondary. And currently, the Conqueror's cars are being bought out, the fast deployed ATGM trucks, for 55 points for Icarus. And Icarus also bringing out a large amount of these older gen T-55 tanks. T-55s are the best when they are in close range, of course, and they can kill the BMP-3s if they can get a shot off, but they only have the older generation fire control, so 1,900 meter range, versus the BMPs having 2,800 meter range AT missiles. So BMP-3s really need to overextend so that the T-55s can start doing damage to them.
Yeah, they at least stop the infantry here now, but they really shouldn't push forward. I think the T-55s really need to be held back and always only show their face whenever the enemy is pushing forward, because also in the open, they can't protect themselves. They don't have smoke launchers, and with that, they can't put a smoke screen between them and the enemy here in the open field. In the town, they at least can go behind the closest corner and try to break line of sight against ATGMs like that. But that doesn't work here down in the south. Icarus taking up in points, but it's once more team in place here with the better KD so far. So, and we have the first couple of Nona wheeled artillery howitzers / mortars here on the battlefield. I believe they are closer to mortars. I'm not quite sure. I think they are categorized as mortars, but they kind of look like a mix of the two.
Yes, so hello, I was in the military once. The difference between a mortar and a howitzer is the pressure of the rounds being fired, and these are low pressure rounds, which makes it a mortar, even though it is a modern self-propelled mortar, so it kind of looks like a howitzer. Yes, go on.
Yeah,
but speaking of the Nona, there are even Nonas, Acacias, and Grads rocket artillery. 27th on T-Man's side has amazing availability of artillery. So even when the West German troops, and the West German troops are generally better than other troops. The West German troops get a lot of special forces. They have good infantry weapons, better than the West Germans, and they even get the resolute trait, so that their guys are just a little bit more spirited in combat. But all of that bravery or political indoctrination, depends on who you ask, will not work against artillery shells. And one fagot already been taken out, two of them actually getting taken out, one by the Nonas, another by the BMPs. So as long as T-Man can have these safe, long-range engagements, no amount of fortifications or replacing the troops in the fortifications will help Icarus hold the town. Icarus needs to have some kind of a weapon here that can engage the BMP-3s on long range, so that these T-Man taking these soft attack engagements, sieging the town, needs to be dangerous. And currently, it's just not dangerous. It's preferable even.
Yeah, we see some helicopters coming in. I would like to see some artillery from 4th Motschützen here, from the East Germans as well. Yeah, exactly. The infantry is superior to the enemy, but that's the only thing where they're really superior. They have a nice amount of helicopters. They have a decent amount of aircraft as well, but with the AA concentration being so, like the area that the AA of Team in Place needs to protect being so small, the short range but high accuracy AA of 27th can protect it quite nicely. So I don't think mass air is the option here for Icarus. So I think the only option Icarus really has to try to break this is artillery. But for that, we need to see the RM70s coming around, and we don't see anything of that just yet. We see the first kill onto a BMP-3 in the south, though, from the Mi-24P helicopter. Helicopter is doing a decent job so far, but yes, Strela 10M punishing them already for staying too long up there. They should fly low. They fly too high here right now, being easily spotted by the Strela 10M. And the Strela 10M, with the modernized missiles, has fantastic range against helicopters and can punish these Hinds and the Mi-8s here pretty easily.
Yeah, with the mortars coming out from Icarus, throwing up a large smoke wall between the to cut out the Soviet battle group, to prevent the long-range fire superiority from happening, so that the T-55s and the Fallschirmjägers can engage the Motostrelki without being afraid of the BMPs. Now the BMPs and the T-80s are pushing further. T-55 stay side-shotting out a BMP-3. T-55 have a very slow reload speed of only 8 rounds per minute, but they managed to get some shots in there. And the BMPs now, T-Man moving the armored battle group back, and yeah, this engagement so far, Icarus getting a bunch of hits in, but unfortunately we are seeing the mightiest weapon in human history. The concave formation is being built up by T-Man. T-Man's Petrosvedka up north will allow mobility up north, and even positioning ATGMs on these around the Petrosvedka. And T-Man's forces down south are only blocked by a single Fallschirmjäger Schwere Maschinengewehr. So taking these, trying to surround and siege the town is possible. And if T-Man manages to do that, 2 mortars can smoke him out. The 2 mortars will work only when the engagement angle is small, and T-Man could potentially start pushing for a concave formation here.
Yeah, concave formation is basically is the creme de la creme, or like the easiest but also strongest and most OP strategies, and well known, at least at the latest, since the Battle of Cannae, when Hannibal did lose until just to get into the concave formation so that he can start winning again, forcing the Romans back on the battlefield. And if you can get the concave here around the enemy, you get more side shots, you get more surface area to hit the enemy from, and more room to maneuver, whilst they have less. And especially the side shot, so important with modern battle tanks having strong frontal armor to face off and shrug off enemy shots. But if they would have as strong of a side armor, they just wouldn't be able to move anymore. So their side armor and their rear armor has to be weaker. So if you can get into a formation where you can often side shot them, the enemy is in big trouble. But Icarus, to prevent the concave from happening, moves back a bit, gets a good smoke here on the side as well, and the amount of Conquers and T-55s here is quite interesting. The last engagement went pretty good, decent for Icarus here, but now we have 40 ADBVs, and those are the most modern main battle tank here in this match, and they are way superior to the T-55 on the other side. They have way better penetration, they have better frontal armor, and they also have a lot more range and accuracy.
Yeah, and on the range part, these hyper-modernized T-55 AM2s are coming out for the East Germans, and even though they share the weak gun, the 100mm gun, they do get pretty good accuracy and good range, and some improved armor. Currently, Icarus seems moving both the Conquerors and the tanks in these 4 unit combinations, realizing that any kind of engagement that is going to have against T-Man's forces will have to be a superior numbers engagement. And right now, the weak and slow guns are getting some shots off at T-Man's infantry that is currently engaging in the town. Smoke should probably be popped right now to prevent the BMP fire superiority, but this backline positioned Mi-8 rocket helicopter getting potentially being able to kill a bunch of stacked infantry units here.
Yeah, the Mi-8 could find some great hits there, but it just barely doesn't have line of sight there, it seems, against these infantry units. Finds some line of sight against the Saperi there, stunning them down nicely. I am still hoping for some better artillery here from Icarus, though. Only has the mortars so far, one of them already taken out by the Nonnas, and that is not enough firepower here to stop these big infantry pushes. Meanwhile, a good build of Armed 30 action could help, and we can't forget Icarus is still the one with the tick. Icarus has full control over the northern town, as Team Players has given it up. This town here in the south is Icarus's territory. That one in the north is supposed to be Teeman, but Teeman has given it up to the fast-rushing Fallschirmjägers, and Icarus needs to get in here in the south eventually. As
it is the style of today to leave the town up north and concentrate on having a decisive battle on this area here. So T-Man playing a bit predictably, even not doing anything up north there, just trying to maximize the amount of good engagements with these expensive units versus these affordable and replaceable units of Icarus.
Icarus being able to snipe the CV there, though, and getting a couple of other nice important units killed off as well. So the last couple of minutes were a decent trade, but at the same time, Teeman got into a decent position here in the south now, being able to push the TADBVs and the BMPs forward, and they reached the other side of the open field now, are in the forest, and that's a problem here for Icarus. That's where I would like to see a Su-22 bomber or RM70. If you would hit that concentration right now, then the T-55s could just roll over the remaining husks of units that remain after a good bombing run, after a good artillery hit. But it's instead T-55s taking the fight directly. They, on this short range, actually win the engagement, which is really impressive, but well played by Icarus. The Conquerors helping out with a couple of ATGMs, softening up the first T-80BV, and a bit of a mistake by T-Man leaving the other T-80BVs further behind. So the first engagement here for Icarus working out decently, but the second time around, especially now that T-Man also has a Grud around and the two T-80BVs here pushing forward, I'm not sure if Icarus can keep up these kind of traits.
Yeah, the concave push happening down south here. There are 4 Conquerors as well as the rocket heli trying to bring out. But even if the 4 Conquerors going against the 2 T-80BVs, that's going to be 2 Conquerors really soon, and they just cannot allow the tanks, the T-Man's tanks, to push through this tree line. Because any kind of one-on-one engagement, as long as T-Man has recon for the tanks and some amount of air defense with the Strelas, the tanks are just gonna the tanks are gonna be there to stay. They're gonna be the T-80BVs are so good defensively, and meanwhile, as Icarus needs to invest troops, deploying the troops really far back and walking them through, because now the T-80s are threatening the reinforcement line. So meanwhile, T-Man's artillery is bombarding the town already, and these waves of efficient close quarters troops, the Saperis and Saperi RPOs, are going out there and getting good, decent hits that Icarus really needs to micro against. FS Jaegers on close range against the Saperi will lose because the Saperi have specialized anti-infantry weapons.
Yeah, Mi-24P here coming around against the Saperi RPO. And yeah, Saperi RPO is being pushed back. T-80BVK being pushed back as well. Iglas trying to hit the Mi-24P here on the other side. Not able to find the kill, but Icarus pushing T-Man once more out of here. CV nearly down. And Icarus keeps the tick up. 9 minutes away from victory with this. I think T-Man is closing in on getting the point though, and if T-Man can push through this town, then it's only a short jump towards Alpha, and because it's only open terrain after there. But the Conquerors, with another great strike, killing off another T-80BV, a couple of T-55s dying at the same time. The Fallschirmjäger losses maybe even more painful, because they can stop enemy infantry quite nicely in the town. The Conquerors here though in the south doing really amazing job for Icarus here, pushing back the T-80BVs.
T-Man having no recon here, no ability to spot those, and even if he had an ability to spot those, the Conquerors could easily just move a couple of meters further back, and the T-80BV couldn't be able to shoot them. The Conquerors really being the anti-elephant specialists of Hannibal's of the Roman army here against the Hannibal of T-Man. If we can keep the Cannae analogy going on further, the only thing to be so far to be just straightforwardly able to kill T-80BVs, though another one is coming back. And no, I thought it was no, they killed the Ural, they didn't kill the T-80BVK. The T-80BVK, the command tank, is on 1 health right now, and its healer was just killed by a T-55 AM2 actually. So currently a tempo advantage going for Icarus right now, as well as of course the points advantage. Icarus's troops down south are moving in. They have a specialized Fallschirmjäger, Pioneer Flam, and Motorschützen. Excellent. Always mix up your troops. Don't have just the same guy replicated 5 times, because that way your infantry is easier to counter. But nonetheless, engaging at the same time as they get an engine destroyed, the Conquerors get an engine destroyed against the T-80BV. Icarus might be actually able to hold this. Icarus's flame troops engaging T-Man's infantry easily, and T-Man bringing out 4 BMP-3s here now, committed in breaking through the southern side of the town, and being held back by suppressive rocket helis and only one Conquerors left.
Yeah, and the issue is for Icarus as well that a couple too many units got picked off by the Motostrelki Medis in the town as well. So losing a lot of the support assets there. T-55 is going down, Estrella is going down, Coops going down. A lot of these support assets not being ready for these infantries coming a bit through the town there. As if those would have been evacuated and the support assets would have been kept alive, I think the trades here wouldn't be too bad, but replacing the Coops, replacing the Strellas, replacing the couple of T-55 AM2s that died up north as well after retreating from the fight south, that's really, really painful here now. And those might be really painful in the long run to replace, or impossible to replace, as the fight currently goes on both sides, and both sides bleed units here, but all the support asset in the rear, the Nonnas, the Grads, the Strela 10Ms, the Iglas, still alive for Timon, whilst on the front line, both sides running low on units. The T-80BVs all killed off, BMP-3s reduced, but on the other side, T-55 is dead as well. But there's only these frontline kind of units for Icarus here, whilst the support is still alive for Timon. Timon needs to get a CV in here soon. 1,550 points for Icarus by now. 20-minute mark. But it's looking like Timon, like Icarus will struggle to keep the frontline cohesive in the south here for much, much longer. He really needs to figure out a way of how to hold this and maybe even give up a bit of ground here. Though, obviously, you might have the 2,000 points now in sight. Like, with only 5 minutes remaining, you might want to try to go for that. But the question is, will you pay too much for it and then collapse right at the moment where the enemy breaks you there? And wouldn't it maybe be better to just give up the town here and try to fight behind it in the tree lines? It's a tough decision here to make.
Yeah, the SPW-70s, the infantry reinforcements, are deploying conservatively more into defense in depth than fortifying the frontline town there. The town really is just last troops are holding there, and they're not going to get reinforced. Icarus is not... I doubt Icarus is going to try to push back against this. Now, the 5 BMP-3s, all of those BMP-3s have a very fast missile at 2,800 meter range, and that missile will penetrate and stun and kill every tank on the East German arsenal.
But on the other side, we have the same ATGM in the T-55 AM2s.
Oh wait, no, that's true actually. Yeah, but
so
not all of
it's
ones,
strong ATGM missile versus strong ATGM missile, and the first couple of shots here going out of the T-55s, getting a good hit against the BMP-3. The Hind helicopter here, the Mi-24, helping out from the side as well. One BMP-3 going down, and the T-55s getting into a dangerous range as well. One T-80BV is around here though, and the T-55s focusing fire on that is a mistake. They need to smoke off, get the hell out of there. They don't want to fight that. They want to fight the BMP-3s, as a single T-80BV is not a threat. The T-80BV backed up by 5-4 BMP-3s, that's a major threat. So trying to support the assets around it might be easier than trying to kill the T-80BV itself. And that's maybe what Icarus should go for here. The tick reduced to a +1, but 1,700 points here by now on the scoreboard. And it's less than half the time remaining here for Timon. So Icarus just needs to find a way of surviving here the next 17 minutes without losing too much terrain whilst doing so.
The AT plane, the 35% accuracy AT plane, tries to get the T-80 commander and immediately gets ruined by T-Man's AA here, unfortunately. That was a cheap plane, but losing the plane informed T-Man that the tank was in an unsafe position, and the command tank has now been moved into a safe position. Taking out that, I mean, considering there is a second command tank coming, so losing that wouldn't have been such massive. But we're talking about a couple of 100 points here. This is getting so close. And for Icarus, the temptation for Icarus to just keep on and just keep grinding the town, take the bad engagements, just a couple of minutes more, must be large. But I doubt the smoke launchers are going to be the mortars, but in practice, the smoke launchers here will be used to capture back the town. More like, I think the reason for the smoke existing will be to force the BMP3s to get closer and away from their preferred range of engagement of like almost 3 kilometers.
By the way, Teeman has the north really, really low, lightly defended. So Icarus, with a bit of a deep dive here with a Hail Mary push, could get into Papa quite easily. But obviously that would take away really valuable defenses here from the south that need to be brought in as reinforcements. But maybe just 1 or 2 helicopters and a CV and like maybe some light vehicles could do the job, but at the same time the losses now in the south are too high to really afford that. Now everything needs to be brought in the south. Too many T-55 AMTBs here dying in quick succession, and that's painful. They were caught out in open terrains and in long range fights. That's never where you want to be at in the 4th Mordschützen versus 27th Guards fight here. And the problem here is now really big for Icarus. Yes, it's only 15 minutes. Yes, he's 1,700 points ahead, but it's a big red plop here pushing towards Alpha. And Alpha is a 2-point zone. It's a +4 if it switches, and that would end the game still in time here for Team in place. And that's the big problem. And defending Alpha here now is going to be really tough. We have BMP1 coming in here. They have the Malyutka M ATGM, which is the worst ATGM in the game, versus the best ground-based, or at least the fastest ground-based ATGM here on side of Pact in the BMP3. So they're gonna have a really tough matchup ahead of them. But with numbers, they might be able to take a couple of victories here. Though, yeah, it's really a tough task here to do for Icarus's forces.
Yeah, it's just there is a T-Man sending, as you should screen using cheaper and faster units, and T-Man F-moving, fast-moving the BTR-80 to the zone and recognizing that there is no enemy forces spotting it or firing at it or defending it or killing it. And now T-Man has knowledge and will soon have the understanding that that there are no tanks left. There are no ATGMs. There is no recon waiting here. As long as the tanks tracks are repaired, 30 seconds, I believe the T-80 will just will be able to move into Alpha. And with 13 minutes left at this point, nothing is going to contest Alpha long enough. If there are some miracle hits from MiG-23, but I doubt so. No miracle hits, unfortunately.
MiG-23 number 1 goes down. MiG-21 AA trying to go for the Mi-24, but the Strela 10Ms and the Iglas here gonna get a kill certainly there. The kill happens right next to the Mi-24, so it gets actually blown to smithereens by the Strelas there, I believe. That was some friendly fire. A bit of too much danger close there. That missile fired, but that's still a trait that Team in Place is fine with, as long as he keeps on rolling. And the rolling does continue. SPW here being brought in to contest the zone for Icarus in the sliver of forest that you have on the right side to at least stop the tick a bit, but the T-80 BVKs keep on pushing forward, and I think only not having cluster SU-22s here is a mistake in this matchup. We see Rapiras being brought in, but yeah, the MiG-23 ATGMs on this map are just too unreliable, and there's not enough space to stretch out the enemy. The MiG-23s are cheap AT planes that you want to have on maps where the enemy has no chance of concentrating their AA, so they make it out alive and can come around and always shark, but that's not the map for this, and the MiG-23s will struggle to find the kill here. T-80 BVK does start the capture, and Icarus desperately trying to defend here, but the point is falling and it's too much. So yeah, Icarus...
So 0 hits for the MiG-23 so far, I believe.
Yeah. Icarus bringing in the pucks, but getting pushed through the center. The amount of units left here is minimal, whilst on the other side we still have a good combined arms going. We have now also a push coming in for North, BMP3s and T-80 BVs coming up to get the next point captured as well. to get the tick faster, to make sure that it is a W. MiG-23 number 3 or number 4 coming around here, not finding a hit either. And this is a problem for Icarus now, and it seems like T-Man will get through as first place.
So but if you're watching this as a viewer, looking at T-Man's unit composition, this is like a platonical ideal of the 27th mech push. You have Razvedka BMP2s, you have Spetsrazvedkas, and Motorrazvedkas pushed up front, not used as assault troops, but used as spotters. And while T-80BVs bunch of course, you want to have a lot of supply because you want to quickly repair all of your units. BMP3s have enough armor that they can survive a single hit, but they need to be repaired fast. And the T-80s have 11 health, so they also are more likely to require to not die. So having multiples of supply vehicles will allow quick repairs. The Strela 10 M3s, 135 points, good accuracy, high-tech, infrared anti-air system, and of course the BMP3s. Having like 3 to 4 BMP3s shoot at an infantry squad at the same time, you're not going to have an infantry squad for long. And the T-80s, even if they are not the most maneuverable tank, moving behind the Spetsrazvedka, moving behind the all of this support, the Nonas, the Grads, the Saperi, which are of course expendable and used as assault troops. T-Man just playing 27th in a this could be an advertisement for 27th gameplay really here.
Okay, we have MiG-21 Biz bombers coming out though. I don't know why we didn't have them before. Like, they could have suicide bombed like this beforehand and get the point like that, because they will get the kill there. And the other T-80BVK nearly dying in the south here as well. If that would have been killed, that would have been big. Both of them dying would have meant we would have had to wait for another CV to make the whole long journey. We see a T-80BV dying on the way into the northern point as well. Oh!
Wow, yeah.
Is the other one still alive? Oh, the MiG doesn't kill the other one. If all three would have been killed here right now in a quick succession, this would have been so big. Oh, such a big moment to try to swing this, but just barely plundered. The T-80BVK in the south still alive. 8 minutes remaining. But that still might be a lifeline here for Icarus. Icarus has basically nothing left here, but killing off the CVs might be the lifeline. We have a D20, but the second CV here is still getting repaired, still getting fixed. Infantry pushes through the north as well, and we still have a BTR 80K coming around as well. Yeah, T-Man obviously has a decent amount of CVs in the deck. I would guess 7 to 9 CVs there in that deck. 2 card of T-80BV. So yeah, most likely like 8 CVs there. 2 other CVs around, 2 card of CVs elsewhere. But yeah, not having command units, and only command units can capture these points, would have been big, but the second T-80BVK does survive. It will capture the zone here in the end. And the +4 still will be just enough, and the BTR here on the way to get to a +6, that will be enough for sure. So yeah, nice try here. If the BVK here would have been killed off, then it might have been enough. But it doesn't, and T-Man still making it. Good attempt here on Icarus, showing why you never should give up too early, as yeah, you just need to figure out what the next win condition was, and trying to kill the CVs was the right win condition. I think he just did it with the wrong units, because the BVKs were damaged the whole time already. They were half hit points, and the HE bombers could have come around every moment to kill them anyways. Instead, the unreliable AT ones did try to do it, and they failed, leaving them alive for a bit too long. And now
I believe Icarus's logic might have been the fact that the MiG-21s are dive bombers, so they are more susceptible to short-range AA. And 27th's big deal is that they have no long-range AA; they only have short-range. But the short-range is really good. And you know, there were some those were dice rolls, 35% dice rolls to get the kill for free, and all of them, one after another, all failed, unfortunately.
Yeah, we've seen now a bit of a smoke play here, trying to sneak in the SPW, but there's a BMP3 already in position that spots the whole shenanigans, which actually shoots at the wrong unit right now. Yeah, gets manually aimed now, and the SPW goes down, and that might be the end of the game here, as we have the +6. We have 5 minutes till 2,000 points, which is just enough here for Timon. No CV close enough to capture a northern point, no CV in the south here remaining for Icarus, so we might see us tap out here soon, as this is GG. It's really close, and Icarus in this game got a lot closer than in game number 1, but Timon staying persistent, staying clean, staying clear, gets another W, and gets the first place in the group stage, and with that, supposedly slightly easier matchup in the playoff stage.
Yeah, the expensive, high investment, high capital investment, slow and steady divisions once again beating out the fast and more unpredictable, more improvising, low tech aggro division, as it was with fifth. Such it was also with the fourth. Really, frankly, I think Icarus played really well. There were points which we didn't get to point out, or I didn't get to point out in the cast, where there were T-55s positioned in such a way that they actually got side shot kills against the T-80s. So many small little details coming from Icarus to fight off this just unparalleled technological superiority of the 27th. And I do hope that the next patch will slightly mix up the meta. And though, of course, nobody wants to go back to the absolute superiority of airborne divisions in competitive play. Oh no, nobody wants to go back that. But I really would like to see the 3rd US, 8th US, 27th armor, 27th moto kind of trifecta of expensive high-tech units be challenged a little bit in the meta.
Yeah, we will see for sure a good couple of changes there. Went over on some YouTube videos about the changes already if you want to check that out, guys. Also went over the 2 upcoming divisions. The patch most likely landing next week with a good amount of good fixes to some issues that we currently have with Dragon Wands and ATGMs, and also a lot of balance changes, smaller ones mostly, but quite a couple of them as well. And then also the 2 new divisions, which might change the meta up a bit as well, though I don't quite think they will be dominating. And yeah, let's have a look here in Division 1 on the end of the official group stage. We have Division 1 Group A here with Team in Place and Icarus as the advancing players. And they will play against Berthex and Yukipor here from Group D. Team versus Yukipor, and Icarus versus Berthex. And then in Group C, we have Procomi and Mix90 advancing. Mix90 having the same amount of points as forward, but the amount of match win means that Mix90 advances. And then in Group B, we have a really interesting 3-way tie between Lavens, Wooden Box, and Nev. So that still needs a tiebreaker here to decide who gets through in which place. But yeah, this is going to be really exciting. Lavens, Wooden Box, and Nev there with the tiebreaker, as they all got to win against one of the others, whilst they all got to win against Jawbreaker. So yeah, gonna be tough. But they're gonna play best of ones now against each other next week. So that's gonna be cool. And yeah, we're gonna see how that all goes, and then move into the playoffs here in Division 1 from there. So yep, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for the big support. The prize pool looking really, really healthy now. $201 by now. Thanks to all the support of you guys. Thanks for all the follows today again. Hope you guys check out Chlorite's channel as well. If you haven't done so yet, do it right now. It's in the chat right now to check it out and go over there. And yeah, we're gonna end it here and gonna rate over to a friend of the channel, and who has a tournament going on as well, Moidok, going on with the Eye in the Sky Invitational Tournament and the big semifinals is over there. So yeah, any last words from you, Chloride?
Not really, except that wow, the consistent skill of some of the Division 1 players is always more interesting when we can see them kind of being brought to the edge and finally to start making more mistakes. And when it comes to watching Icarus and T-Man, you don't get those mistakes. You just the consistency of the positioning and consistency of the engagements is just wonderful. And I do hope that the certain elements of the game, such as the Dragon 1 bug, won't replicate themselves in any other forms in future patches, because I do think the game is in a really good balance situation, aside from some of these very glaring problems.
Okay, yeah. I'm really hyped for the patch as well. I think that will change up the way we will go into the playoffs as well. So really hyped for the playoffs. I hope you are all as well. And yeah, let's go into the playoffs of Mordok's tournament there over in Squad. First really massive Squad tournament in existence, and the Mordok Invitational there. So let's check that out. Big semifinals going on there as well. So hype action there.